The rumor is that the young lady of the Bai family in Modu has a ring on her hand that never leaves her finger. But no one knows it's a cheap item I bought 5 years ago from a roadside stall, and yet Bai Ningbing wore it for 5 whole years, until Fang Yuan appeared. She took off that simple ring and put on the stainless steel ring Fang Yuan gave her. In that moment, I resolved to end this love triangle and agreed to the marriage arranged by my family. I made a phone call. Mom, I've decided. I'll come back and marry the little princess of the capital. My mother's voice came from the other end of the line. Xiaofeng, have you finally come to your senses? If you don't want to, I won't force you. Won't you think about it a little more? There's no need. I agree to marry her. I put down my teacup, let out a long sigh, and spoke in a calm tone. My mother asked again, what about Bai Ningbing? How do you plan to handle it? I'm going to divorce her. Give me a month. Once I've handled things here, I'll come back. After speaking, a bitter smile appeared on my face. After hanging up the phone, I looked up at the lawyer across from me. The lawyer pushed a file towards me. Mr. Lin, this is the newly drafted divorce agreement. Please take a look. I took a deep breath and signed. It's been 5 years. I'm finally about to end this loveless marriage. Mr. Lin, if you have no objections, after both parties have signed, and after the 1-month reconciliation period ends, this agreement will take effect. May I ask if your wife has arrived? The lawyer asked. I was looking over the detailed clauses of the agreement as I replied indifferently, she's not here yet, but I'll make her sign it. Very well, Mr. Lin. If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to call me anytime. The lawyer shook my hand, then stood up and left. Just then, the sharp click of high heels sounded from the door. A stunningly beautiful woman with a tall figure, delicate features, and skin as white as snow walked in. She is my legal wife, Bai Ningbing. What surprised me even more was that there was another figure beside her. Fang Yuan smiled and waved at me. Brother Feng. I looked at his fake expression and said coldly, I don't recall inviting you here, did I? Fang Yuan froze, then pretended to be pitiful. Brother Feng, did I do something to upset you? I frowned. Cut it out. Stop pretending. This trick of yours can only fool Bai Ningbing. It's useless on me. With that said, I lifted my teacup and turned to look out the window, too lazy to pay any more attention to this hypocrite. Seeing this, Bai Ningbing furrowed her delicate brows and snapped coldly, Lin Feng, you're a grown man. Why do you keep picking on Fang Yuan? What has he ever done to you? Then she turned and said gently to Fang Yuan, don't be afraid. I'm here. Fang Yuan even deliberately acted understanding and advised, Ningbing, don't blame Brother Feng. Perhaps he's just in a bad mood. Don't let me affect the relationship between you two. Hearing his hypocritical words, my stomach churned. Bai Ningbing asked impatiently, speak. What did you call me here for? The Yin family from Nan province has already sent someone to Tanjiang. I have to go meet them later. I can only give you 5 minutes at most. I sneered inwardly. Just the insignificant Yin family. Then I pushed the divorce agreement towards her. Nothing else. I need CEO Bai to sign this document. Bai Ningbing frowned slightly. Her intuition told her this document wasn't simple. But just as she was about to turn the first page, Fang Yuan beside her suddenly let out a miserable cry. The teacup in his hand fell to the ground and shattered. The scalding tea splashed all over him. Bai Ningbing hurriedly grabbed a napkin, wiping him down, while asking with concern, Are you okay? Did you get burned? What are you standing there for? Bring an ice pack now, she roared at the surrounding waiters. Seeing this scene, I was a little dazed. Bai Ningbing rarely lost her temper before. The last time was 5 years ago, when I went to buy our diamond wedding ring and was mocked by the staff for being too poor to afford it. After she found out, she rushed back from another province, slapped that staff member in front of everyone, bought out all the diamond rings in the store, and declared loudly, Lin Feng is my husband. Anyone who looks down on him is looking down on me. I came back to my senses. I looked at her, whose heart was now filled only with Fang Yuan, and understood that the Bai Ningbing who was sincere with me was long in the past. I'll take you to the hospital first. Bai Ningbing grabbed her handbag and stood up to pull Fang Yuan away. Wait, sign this agreement first. I reined in my thoughts and pointed to the divorce agreement on the table. Without hesitation, Bai Ningbing picked up the pen, flipped to the last page, and signed her name. I frowned and asked, Aren't you going to look at the contents? There's no need. I have to get Fang Yuan to the hospital quickly. Oh, right. I won't be coming home tonight, Bai Ningbing said with a frown, then pulled Fang Yuan and quickly left the tea house. I let out a self-mocking laugh, reached out and took back the document. If only she had hesitated for a few more seconds, if only she had flipped it open for a look, she would have known it was a divorce agreement. But now, her mind was completely focused on Fang Yuan. My thoughts were in turmoil. As I walked out of the tea house with the agreement, I happened to see Bai Ningbing closing the car door. I faintly heard their conversation from inside the car. Fang Yuan asked, Ningbing, you? What did you just sign? Bai Ningbing's voice was gentle. It's nothing, just a normal agreement. You're so careless, you should have just let the waiter bring the tea. Does it still hurt? Hearing this concerned tone and then looking at the divorce agreement in my hand, I gave a bitter laugh. 5 years ago, in order to avoid an arranged marriage by my family, I came to Tanjiang alone and happened to meet Bai Ningbing. I quickly fell in love. When I was sick, she would stay up all night by my side. When I was hungry, she would run all over the city to buy my favorite snacks. She cared for me deeply. Only later did I find out that in the beginning she only saw me as a substitute for her white moonlight, Fang Yuan. But back then, I naively thought that if I just put my heart and soul into it, one day she would fall in love with me. So, I took care of all the housework and looked after her meticulously. But the more devoted I was, the colder she became towards me. Until half a year ago, Bai Ningbing suddenly came home overjoyed, found a sexy backless long dress, put on elaborate makeup, and rushed out. I later learned that day was when Fang Yuan, divorced, returned to the country. It was also the first time Bai Ningbing didn't come home all night. It's time to end it. I stood at the door, laughing helplessly and bitterly. I looked up at the azure sky and thought to myself that the family's arranged marriage might not be so bad after all. Bai Ningbing, from now on, we don't owe each other anything. Just as I was about to hail a taxi, my phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. Hello, who is this? An old but excited voice came from the other end. Excuse me, is this Mr. Lin Hao? Lin Hao, a name I hadn't heard in a long time. I was once the Qilin son of the Lin family in the capital. 5 years ago, I suddenly disappeared, and this name was gradually forgotten. I said, I'm not Lin Hao. My name is Lin Feng. I was about to hang up after saying that. Mr. Lin, wait, don't hang up. I know you are Lin Hao. President Jiang gave me this number. Please give me just 1 minute. Can you please hear me out? The other party hurriedly said, President Jiang, the head of the Sihai Chamber of Commerce in the capital, is an old friend of mine. I hesitated for a moment and said gravely, Speak. Mr. Lin, I'm truly sorry to bother you, but I really have no other choice. I am Yin Changming, the head of the Yin family in Nan Province. I beg you to save my granddaughter. Yin Changming's voice was choked with sobs. The Yin family of Nan Province, the top prestigious family in Nan Province, was now being so respectful to me. If Bai Ningbing saw this, her jaw would surely drop in astonishment. The head of the Yin family, whom she had spent so much effort trying to flatter, was now calling with a subservient attitude to me, someone who was a nobody in her eyes. I frowned. I'm sorry, I'm busy. I was about to hang up again. Mr. Lin, as long as you agree to save my granddaughter, our Yin family will go through mountains of blades and seas of fire for you, and we will never back down, even in the face of death, Yin Changming said hurriedly, afraid I would hang up. Old Mr. Yin, if you've investigated me, you must know my rule of the 7 I won't save, I said calmly. Yin Changming immediately replied, Of course I know. Your medical skills are unparalleled. The 7 you won't save are the greatly treacherous and evil, the disloyal and unfilial, corrupt officials, those of depraved character, the inhumane and unjust, the greedy and lecherous, and when you are not in a good mood. But our Yin family is not a house of great evil, nor are we of depraved character. On the contrary, we always do charity work in Nan Province and have helped many homeless orphans. I beg you to lend a hand. Otherwise, my granddaughter will. At this point, Yin Changming broke down sobbing. I frowned and thought for a moment. All right, out of respect for President Jiang and the fact that your Yin family always does charity work, it'll help you this once. Yin Changming was immediately moved to tears of joy. Thank you, Mr. Lin, for your righteous help. Our Yin family will never forget your great kindness. I will come to pick you up personally right away. Hanging up the phone, I sighed softly. When I first came to Tanjiang, I wanted to live a peaceful life, so I always lived very modestly. 5 years ago, I secretly helped the Bai group overcome its crisis, but I never told Bai Ningbing. But this very modesty made her feel that I was a nobody. Marrying me was just her way of soothing her heartache. Now that Fang Yuan has returned, she no longer needs to pretend. I laughed self-mockingly, so be it. Some people's hearts are made of ice, they simply can't be warmed. Bai Ningbing, what I gave you before, everything I gave to the Bai group, it's time to take it all back. At the same time, at a luxurious private villa in the west of Tanjiang, Yin Changming hung up the phone and said to Yin Haodong beside him, Hurry, get the car ready, I'm going to pick up Mr. Lin myself. Yin Haodong nodded in response, but he was extremely surprised. He didn't expect this Qilin son to be so important to his father. He asked, Dad, Bai Ningbing, the CEO of Tanjiang's Bai Group, has been begging you for over a month. You only agreed to meet her yesterday. When do you think would be a suitable time to meet? Yin Changming waved his hand impatiently. Tell her I'm busy. Yin Haodong nodded and immediately called his subordinate. The old master has spoken. He doesn't have time to meet Bai Ningbing. Just say that our Yin family has to visit a distinguished guest. Tell her to go back and wait for news. At this moment, in the CEO's office of the Bai Group, Bai Ningbing was nervously clutching her phone, waiting for an important call. The phone finally rang. She hurriedly answered it. Director Su, how did it go? Did old Yin agree to meet me? Director Shu on the other end of the line spoke with an indifferent tone. I'm sorry, Bai. Old Yin has to visit a distinguished guest today. He doesn't have time to see you. Let's talk about it later. Bai Ningbing frowned tightly, glancing at Fang Yuan beside her, who was fiddling with a bouquet of red roses, then asked Director Shu, is it convenient to disclose who the distinguished guest Old Yin is visiting is? Director Shu hesitated for a moment. Bai, I can only tell you that the distinguished guest's surname is Lin. After saying that, he hung up the phone. Hearing the long dial tone from the phone, Bai Ningbing's expression turned ugly. Someone who could make Old Yin visit in person must be a top-tier figure. If I could form a connection with them, then the future of the Bai group would be secure. But she also knew, figures like that, the small Bai family simply isn't qualified to meet. Fang Yuan comforted her. Ningbing, don't worry too much. I heard that Old Yin came to Tanjiang first to find a project partner, and second, to find a doctor for his gravely ill granddaughter. He won't be leaving right away. We still have a chance. As he spoke, he reached out to take Bai Ningbing's hand. Bai Ningbing just gave a bitter smile and impassively pulled her hand back, brushing back the stray hairs on her forehead. Oh, right. You just returned to the country. Where do you want to eat tonight? I'll take you. I'd rather eat something you made. Fang Yuan noticed her pulling her hand away. The corners of his eyes drooped slightly, but he still forced a smile. In the past, Bai Ningbing was very clingy with him, but now she was deliberately keeping her distance. Bai Ningbing froze. If you don't have time, it's okay. We can eat out too. Fang Yuan's voice carried a hint of disappointment. Seeing this, Bai Ningbing showed a doting look in her eyes. I have time. Let's go. To my place. Wait. Fang Yuan pulled Bai Ningbing, took a photo together in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, and casually posted it on his moments. What are you doing? Bai Ningbing asked doubtfully, Fang Yuan said with a smile. Of course, it's to capture the beautiful moments of us together. While Bai Ningbing went down to the parking lot to get the car, Fang Yuan sent me a WeChat message, like my moments post. Without waiting for my reply, he sent another message. Brother Fang, sorry, sent it to the wrong person. Don't get the wrong idea. Ningbing and I were just taking a simple photo together. I had just returned to the villa I share with Bai Ningbing. When I frowned upon seeing the WeChat message, I opened Fang Yuan's moments. In the photo, Fang Yuan had one arm around Bai Ningbing's shoulder and was making a heart shape with her. They looked like a sweet couple. I let out 2 cold laughs. Fang Yuan was obviously showing it to me on purpose, wanting to make me feel awkward. If it were before, probably would have gotten angry, but now I no longer cared. I nonchalantly hit like and even commented, the flowers are blooming beautifully. Blessings to you both. Putting the phone away, I sat on the sofa in the living room and let out a long sigh. The bridal chamber before me was the place where, 5 years ago, Bai Ningbing and I bought it together. The wedding photo was still hanging on the wall. Looking at it now, it was incredibly jarring, even a little ironic. Bai Ningbing's smile back then was so fake, a mechanical kind of smile, but after being married for 3 years, I never once noticed. We're already strangers to each other. Keeping this photo only disgusts me. Without any hesitation, I took the wedding photo down, held it, and threw it into the trash can outside. Lin Feng, what are you doing? Bai Ningbing had just finished parking on the side of the road when she saw this scene and felt that the photo frame looked a bit familiar, throwing out the trash. I said with a calm expression. Bai Ningbing walked over suspiciously, wanting to see what was in the trash can, but was interrupted by Fang Yuan getting out of the passenger seat. What's wrong? Then, he seemed to have just noticed me and said with feigned surprise, Brother Fang, you're home? What are you doing here? I frowned, sizing up this hypocrite. Brother Fang, you don't welcome me? Fang Yuan looked at Bai Ningbing with a wronged expression. Bai Ningbing didn't look at the trash can and said with dissatisfaction, What right does he have not to welcome you? This is my house, I scoffed, looking at the wronged Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing who was protecting him, and asked mockingly, Do you mean you want me to leave? The atmosphere immediately became awkward. Bai Ningbing's face fell. Lin Feng, what do you mean? Do you always have to be so unreasonable and make everyone unhappy? I'm bringing Fang Yuan back, just to have a meal together? Don't overthink it. I laughed self-deprecatingly. So you mean you'll personally cook for him? Bai Ningbing was stunned. She was silent for a moment, then said, Fang Yuan just returned to the country. The food outside isn't clean. What if? All right, no need to explain anymore. Just as you said, it's just a meal. I'm not that petty. I chuckled softly and walked into the villa without looking back. Bai Ningbing was left speechless by my words. Watching my receding figure, she suddenly felt that I had become very distant. The me of the past was always 100% obedient to her, Fang Yuan said with feigned remorse. Ningbing, it's all my fault. Maybe I should go, to avoid making Brother Fang angry again. It's fine, don't mind him, come in. Bai Ningbing smiled, but in her heart, she felt I was being too petty. Can't you just see Fang Yuan as a good friend? Pushing the door open and entering the living room, Bai Ningbing noticed at a glance that the wedding photo on the wall was gone. She immediately asked me coldly as I sat on the sofa reading documents, Where's the wedding photo? It was a bit of an eyesore and taking up space, so I put it away. My voice was calm and cold. Bai Ningbing immediately bristled. Lin Feng, what do you mean? That's our wedding photo. What right do you have to just put it away? Hang it back up right now. I gave a cold laugh. It's in the trash can outside. Go dig it out yourself. After I said that, I just raised an eyebrow at her and said nothing more. She disregarded my feelings, brought Feng Yuan to our bridal chamber, and even wanted to cook for him personally, and now she's concerned about a wedding photo. I really can't understand it. I was even curious if she knew she had signed the divorce agreement, and that in a month, I would marry the young miss of the Tang family in the capital. What her reaction would be. I'm sorry. I'm tired, I said coldly. Bai Ningbing frowned slightly and was about to get angry when Fang Yuan came up from behind, peeking his head in to survey the house's layout, and asked with a smile, Ningbing, is this your and brother Fang's bridal home? It's not bad. I remember you once told me that, if we got married, we would decorate our bridal home just like this. The moment he finished speaking, the atmosphere in the living room instantly froze. Bai Ningbing's face stiffened, and she looked awkwardly at me sitting on the sofa. However, there wasn't a trace of dissatisfaction on my face. I didn't even ask a single question. In that moment, Bai Ningbing's heart ached. Lin Feng, I'm sorry. Fang Yuan also pretended to apologize. Brother Feng, I didn't mean it. But he couldn't hide the smugness in the depths of his eyes. I gave a cold laugh, my expression frigid. I said nothing more. All right, didn't you want to go cook for him? Then I won't disturb you anymore. I have somewhere to be, so I'll leave first. Where are you going? Bai Ningbing was a little worried. In the past 5 years, I had never been as unusual as I was today, so calm. This indifferent attitude made her restless, even a little panicked. To meet a friend, I said nonchalantly. Bai Ningbing frowned. A friend? What friend? Since when do you have friends? Why didn't I know, Xiao Bai? This is my personal business. I don't need to report it to you. I coldly walked out the main door. The sound of the door slamming shut made Bai Ningbing in the living room jump. Her expression grew even uglier, and she clenched her fists. Seeing that I had left, Fang Yuan said with a feigned sense of aggrievement, Ningbing, are you okay? Did I say something wrong to make Brother Fang angry? Should I go find him and bring him back? But the smugness and cold smile in his eyes had long since revealed his true intentions. Next would be his and Bai Ningbing's world for two. I'm fine. Bai Ningbing frowned and let out a sigh. Her complicated gaze looked towards the door. So what are we eating tonight? Do you need me to lend a hand? Fang Yuan asked enthusiastically. Okay. Just as Bai Ningbing was about to speak, her phone suddenly rang. On the phone, her female secretary said excitedly, CEO Bai, we've found Old Yin's temporary residence. Do you want to go? Oh, right. I heard that Old Yin will be visiting a distinguished guest today. If we're lucky, we might get to meet that big shot. All right, I know. You'll be there in a bit. Bai Ningbing hung up the phone and looked at the beaming Fang Yuan. She said apologetically, Fang Yuan, I'm sorry, I don't have time to cook for you today. Something urgent came up at the company. I have to make a trip. A flash of displeasure appeared in Fang Yuan's eyes, but he still smiled gently. It's okay, company business is more important. How about I give you a ride? Thank you, Fang Yuan. Bai Ningbing nodded, breathing a sigh of relief. Just as the two of them left the parking lot, they saw that the road was temporarily blocked. From a distance, they could see a custom-built Rolls-Royce parked on the side of the road. In front, behind, to the left, and to the right were all bodyguards in black suits who at a glance were clearly well-trained ex-soldiers. What's going on? Bai Ningbing grumbled with dissatisfaction. She looked at her watch. Why is the road blocked like this? She was in a hurry to meet Old Yin. She couldn't afford any delays. Fang Yuan rolled down the car window and looked at the reception staff. It seems a big shot has arrived, so they've temporarily blocked the road. At this moment, a security guard noticed Bai Ningbing's car, walked over and said coldly, Excuse me, this area has been blocked off. Please take another route. Hello, I'd like to ask, who is in the car across the street? Bai Ningbing asked. The other party replied coldly, Old Yin of the Yin family from Nan Province. What? Bai Ningbing's face changed drastically, shocked. I can't believe it's Old Master Yin. She suppressed the excitement in her heart and hurriedly asked, Old Master Yin, are you waiting for someone? As a strong career woman, she immediately realized that Old Master Yin was definitely here waiting for some distinguished guest. I'm sorry, I can't disclose that. Please leave immediately, the bodyguard said coldly. Bai Ningbing bit her lip, looking at the motorcade on the other side. She wanted to stay and see who the important figure Old Master Yin was waiting for was. But the bodyguard's gaze was cold, and he even used his body to block the front of her car. She had no choice but to give up. The person Old Master Yin had to personally greet was not someone she could meet just because she wanted to. Ningbing, let's turn the car around. There will be more opportunities later. Fang Yuan reminded her from the side. Bai Ningbing nodded, gave the opposing motorcade a reluctant look, then slowly turned the car around and left. As she left, she kept watching through the rearview mirror. She saw the Rolls-Royce door open, and the person who got out was the head of the Nan Province Yin family, Yin Chengming. Just as she wanted to get a clear look at who Old Master Yin was greeting, she suddenly saw my figure appear in the rearview mirror. Bai Ningbing sat in the car, her eyes wide, staring at me in the rearview mirror with a shocked expression. Fang Yuan saw that her expression was off and followed her gaze to the rearview mirror. He asked doubtfully, "Ningbing, what's wrong?" Bai Ningbing hurriedly asked Fang Yuan, "Look, is that person opposite the head of the Yin family Lin Feng?" Fang Yuan looked around a few times but saw nothing. He said doubtfully, "Ningbing, are you too tired in seeing things?" As he spoke, he reached out to grab Bai Ningbing's hand. Bai Ningbing was stunned and quickly pulled her hand back, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. She said awkwardly, "Maybe I really did see it wrong." She looked in the rearview mirror a few more times, confirmed that my figure was gone, and only then did she step on the gas and quickly drove away. She didn't know that if she had been just a few seconds slower, she would have seen a sight that she would never forget for the rest of her life. Yin Chongming and Yin Haodong quickly ran up to me, bowed deeply at a 90-degree angle, and respectfully and humbly called out, "Mr. Lin?" I glanced at them calmly and said faintly, "All right, head of the Yin family. I'm in a hurry, let's get in the car." "Yes, yes, yes." Yin Changming immediately leaned over, personally opened the rear door for me, and said respectfully, "Mr. Lin, after you." I nodded and got into the car. Elsewhere, Bai Ningbing's car hadn't gone far when it suddenly slammed on the brakes. "Ningbing, are you okay?" "You look like you're completely out of it," Fang Yuan asked with concern. Bai Ningbing gripped the steering wheel tightly. "No, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Even if I leave a bad impression on Old Master Yin, I have to meet him. And that VIP that even Old Master Yin had to personally greet." After speaking, she abruptly turned the wheel, the car made a U-turn, and chased after the motorcade. With a long screech, Bai Ningbing's car directly blocked the motorcade. Inside the Rolls-Royce, Yin Haodong hurriedly slammed on the brakes and asked nervously, "Mr. Lin, Dad, are you two okay?" Yin Changming shook his head, looked at the person blocking the car ahead with displeasure, and yelled, "Who dares to drive like that?" Then, he saw getting out of the car a tall woman with a cool and charming aura. It was Bai Ningbing. My eyes narrowed slightly, watching Bai Ningbing run towards the front of the car. I wondered to myself, why is she here? Could she have discovered something? Bai Ningbing ran quickly, but when she was still 5 meters from the motorcade, she was stopped by a bodyguard with a cold expression. She said hurriedly, "Old Master Yin, I am Bai Ningbing, the CEO of the Bai Group. I've made appointments to see you before to discuss cooperation." In the car, Yin Changming's face turned livid. "What? Bai Group? Never heard of it." He had gone through so much trouble to invite the Keelan's son, Mr. Lin. If this car-blocking incident angered me, it would be a huge problem. Yin Haodong immediately replied, "Dad, she is Bai Ningbing, the CEO of the Bai Group that I told you about before. She's made a few appointments, but you rejected all of them, so it's her. Quickly, tell her to leave," Yin Changming said, annoyed. "Yes," Yin Haodong replied, got out of the car and walked up to Bai Ningbing. He said impolitely, "CEO Bai, it's very rude of you to block our car like this. If you have any business, make an appointment with my secretary. Please move your car immediately and don't obstruct our motorcade." After speaking, he turned to get back in the car. Bai Ningbing hurriedly pushed the bodyguard aside and chased after him, saying, "CEO Yin, please wait. I apologize for my audacity. I heard that Old Master Yin is meeting an important person today. I truly had no other choice but to do this. I just want to ask, is the important person you and Old Master Yin are meeting in the car? Could I possibly meet them for a moment? If not, leaving my business card and contact information would also be fine." The Bai Group was on the verge of collapse. She had no more time to wait. Yin Haodong stared at Bai Ningbing with displeasure and said coldly, "CEO Bai, you're quite well informed. That's right, my father just picked up that important person. As for whether he wants to meet you or not, or whether he wants to accept your business card, I can't decide. Then please, CEO Yin, pass on my request," Bai Ningbing pleaded. Yin Haodong sized up Bai Ningbing. She was indeed, as rumored, a famous beauty in the Tanjiang business world. He had met too many people who bowed and scraped before him. Bai Ningbing was the first to dare to block his car. So he decided to give her a chance. Just this once. There won't be a next time. After speaking, he walked to the back seat and said to the slightly open car window, "Mr. Lin, that CEO of the Bai Group wants to meet you. If you don't want to meet her, would you like to accept her business card?" I sat in the back seat, calmly watching the anxiously waiting Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan next to her, handing her a tissue to wipe her sweat. I said in a cold voice, "No need, let's go." Yin Haodong nodded, turned around and said to Bai Ningbing, "I'm sorry, Mr. Lin doesn't want to meet you, nor does he want to accept your business card." Bai Ningbing shuddered. She had originally thought that with her looks the other party would at least accept her business card. Who would have thought this important figure would be so cold? Unresigned, she asked, "CEO Yin, then may I ask the name of the important person? In the car?" Yin Haodong replied casually, "His name is Lin Hao. Hurry up and go. Don't waste Mr. Lin's time." Yin Changming suddenly stuck his head out of the car and urged impatiently. "Coming," Yin Haodong replied, and quickly ran back to the car. The motorcade slowly started moving. As the car passed by Bai Ningbing, the car window was slowly closing. In that instant, Bai Ningbing saw through the crack of the window the side profile of the man sitting next to Yin Changming. She was slightly startled. How can he look so much like Lin Feng? Impossible. She quickly took out her phone, wanting to call me. Fang Yuan got out of the car and came over, asking, Ningbing, what's wrong? Fang Yuan, look into this for me. The distinguished guest that old Master Yin greeted today, is he a big shot from Jingcheng? Bai Ningbing asked. Fang Yuan looked at the distant motorcade and said, I heard that old Master Yin was greeting a big shot from Jingcheng. Ningbing, did you really see it wrong? Bai Ningbing was stunned. Could it be that I really did see it wrong? She looked in the rearview mirror a few more times, but my figure was no longer there, so she restarted the car. Half an hour later, in a luxurious manor in the western suburbs of Tanjiang, I looked up at the young girl on the hospital bed. She was about 21 or 22 years old, her face as pale as a sheet of paper, wearing a white chiffon nightgown, revealing her fair shoulders. The dress only reached her knees. Even while unconscious, her lips completely bloodless, it was hard to hide her clever aura. Beside the bed, a few medical staff in white coats were discussing with grave expressions, occasionally shaking their heads and sighing. Dad, Heodong, you're finally back. These quacks can't even figure out what's wrong with Hexue. At this moment, a woman in her 30s with eyes red and swollen from crying hurried over. She was the girl's mother, Lin Yuelin. Old Master Yin, I'm truly sorry. We've done our best. The young lady's condition is too complicated. We can't find the cause even with the most advanced equipment. A young female doctor with a proud posture said with an apologetic expression. Yin Changming frowned, said with a grim expression, That's enough, you may all leave. With Mr. Lin here, we no longer require your services. Which Mr. Lin? The medical staff all looked at Yin Changming in surprise. They were the top doctors from major hospitals. Could there really be someone more skilled than them? Lin Yuelin also noticed me and frowned, saying, Dad, the miracle doctor you keep mentioning, it can't be him, can it? He doesn't look much older than Hexue. Can he really have such high medical skills? Dad, don't be fooled by some wandering charlatan. Yin Changming frowned and said coldly, Yuelin, don't be rude. Mr. Lin's medical skills are praised even by President Jiang. 4 years ago, when old Master Jiang was given a death sentence by the imperial physicians of Jingcheng, it was Mr. Lin who saved his life. Lin Yuelin grew even more doubtful. Half a month ago, I saw old Master Zhu with my own eyes, climbing the Great Wall in high spirits. He didn't look sick at all. Dad, could it be that you were deceived by President Jiang? After speaking, she turned to me again and questioned in a cold voice, Do you really know medicine? I know a little, I replied calmly. Just a little? Lin Yuelin frowned in dissatisfaction. Do you have any idea? Everyone who can enter this door is a famous doctor from Nan province. Even they are helpless. What makes you think you can come here? Yuelin, do not be rude! Yin Changming shouted coldly. What do you understand? The Tao begets one begets two begets three, and three begets all things. When Mr. Lin says he knows a little, he is being modest. Now hurry up and apologize to Mr. Lin, Lin Yuelin said, unconvinced. Dad, he's too young. What kind of medical skills could he possibly have? What if something happens to Hexue? Yin Changming's face darkened. Nonsense. Hurry up and step aside, Yuelin. Apologize to Mr. Lin now. Yin Haodong also tried to placate her. Stop making a scene. Why should I apologize to him? Not unless he can prove his medical skills. Lin Yuelin continued to shout. She would absolutely not let this brat examine her daughter. The corners of my mouth lifted slightly, and I let out a soft chuckle. Mom, are you sure you want me to prove it to you? Of course. Lin Yuelin's gaze was firm, she replied in a cold voice. I clasped my hands behind my back and said frankly, If I'm not mistaken, Mom, it's been nearly a year since you've had any marital relations, correct? What nonsense are you talking about? Lin Yuelin's face turned beet red, awkwardly defended herself. Madam, in the last 6 months, have you often felt hot all over with a dry mouth and tongue? You've seen many famous doctors, but the symptoms haven't subsided at all. As I spoke, I slowly turned to look at Yin Haodong, who was also blushing. Mr. Yin, in the last 2 or 3 months, has your wife's temper been especially erratic? Yin Haodong awkwardly licked his lips, not knowing how to answer. I continued. Actually, at you and your wife's age, marital relations not only provide mental refreshment, but can also balance yin and yang. Being abstinent for too long is actually detrimental to your wife's health. Lin Yuelin still wanted to argue, but Yin Haodong pulled her back. He nodded repeatedly. Thank you for your guidance, Mr. Lin. It's just my daughter's illness. At this moment, though Lin Yuelin was verbally unconvinced, she was already endlessly astonished inside. She no longer stepped forward to stop me. I walked up to the hospital bed, and after a thorough examination, I frowned. Yin Hexue wasn't sick at all. She was afflicted with a goo poison. The art of goo has always been secretive, and ordinary doctors would never be able to detect it. Fortunately, I have some knowledge of goo arts myself. Mr. Lin, what exactly is wrong with my granddaughter? Seeing me frown without speaking, Yin Changming asked anxiously, Goo poison. I stared at the unconscious Yin Hexue and said in a deep voice, What? Goo poison? Upon hearing those two words, everyone from the Yin family and the medical staff gasped in unison. After a moment of shock, Lin Yuelin suddenly sneered, "Hao Dong, Dad, is this the doctor you two found? Gu poison? I think he's just a charlatan. He couldn't figure out what's wrong with Hexue, so he just made something up." The other female doctor and medical staff members all smiled without saying a word. Yin Haodong frowned, his expression dark. "Yuelan, that's enough. Mr. Lin isn't like that." Just then, a cold voice came from outside the door. "When you can't find the cause of an illness, you use Gu poison to cover it up. How ridiculous." A slender young woman walked into the room, followed by a young man. The woman's figure, looks, and aura were all top-notch. "Brother-in-law, everyone, look who have brought." The young man was Yin Changming's brother-in-law, Lin Zidong. Yin Haodong immediately went to greet her. "Divine Dr. Shen, you're here." Shen Mengran nodded politely. To get her to come, Lin Zidong had gone to great lengths. Yin Changming also said politely, "Divine Dr. Shen, I have long admired your reputation." Shen Mengran just smiled and nodded at him, then looked at me. She said with disdain, "Did you just say Miss Yin was afflicted with a Gu poison? How could you utter such a childish lie?" Yin Changming hurriedly tried to smooth things over. "Divine Dr. Shen, you've misunderstood. This Grandmaster Lin is also very capable." Hearing the word Grandmaster, Shen Mengran frowned and said with displeasure, "What era are we in? And there are still people calling themselves Grandmaster to swindle others. What Gu poison? I don't care who you are. Deceiving a patient's family like this is a morally reprehensible act." I raised an eyebrow and asked coldly, "Then what is your diagnosis, Divine Dr. Shen?" I reviewed the patient's records before I arrived. Based on my assessment, Miss Yin is simply in shock due to qi and blood stagnation, Shen Mengran said decisively. Hearing this, Lin Yuelin was overjoyed. "Divine Dr. Shen, does that mean you can cure my daughter?" Shen Mengran nodded. "Rest assured, with the 9 needles to restore Yang, personally taught to me by my master, Divine Dr. Hua, I can definitely bring her back." Lin Yuelin excitedly grabbed Shen Mengran's hand. "Thank you so much, Divine Dr. Shen." After saying that, she turned and glared at me. "Hao Dong, I told you some people can't be trusted. He's nothing more than a wandering charlatan. You just wouldn't listen." Yin Haodong's brows furrowed deeply. His expression was complicated. Could President Jiang and this man really have conspired to deceive him? If so, he would definitely not let President Jiang off the hook. I looked over at Shen Mengran. I warned her in a cold tone. "Let me give you a piece of advice. Silver needles invigorate blood circulation. If you perform acupuncture on Miss Yin now, it will only backfire. It will accelerate the activation of the Gu poison inside her. If I'm not mistaken, after you insert the needle, she will vomit fresh blood and die suddenly." "Shut up," Shen Mengran snapped coldly. "Who do you think you are? How dare you slander the medical arts of my master, Divine Dr. Hua?" I just chuckled softly. I said nothing more. She would regret it soon enough. "Divine Dr. Shen, don't listen to him. Please, save my daughter," Lin Yuelin urged anxiously. Shen Mengran nodded. She walked to the bedside. She took Miss Yin's pulse. "Madam Lin, rest assured, Miss Yin's problem isn't serious. We'll perform the acupuncture now. Afterward, we'll follow up with some herbal medicine. I guarantee a full recovery." "Then I'll have to trouble you, Divine Dr. Shen," Lin Yuelin said gratefully. Immediately after, Shen Mengran took a set of custom-made silver needles from her medical kit. She began performing acupuncture on Miss Yin. I sat to the side watching her technique. I nodded to myself. It was indeed the 9 needles to restore Yang. This Shen Mengran really did have some skill. No wonder she was so confident. "Divine Dr. Shen, this is my last warning. If that needle goes in, it will only trigger the Gu poison in Miss Yin's body." I frowned, reminding her once more. Shen Mengran's elegant brows furrowed tightly. She snapped angrily in a cold voice. "Stop spouting nonsense." With that, she plunged the needle in. The next second, Miss Yin, who had been lying peacefully on the bed, suddenly began to convulse violently. With a splutter, she vomited a large mouthful of fresh blood. Her face turned ashen. She looked no different from a corpse. Seeing this, everyone from the Yin family broke out in a cold sweat. Even Shen Mengran's face turned pale. Yin Haodong snapped out of it. He hurriedly asked Divine Dr. Shen, "What's wrong with my daughter?" Shen Mengran was drenched in a cold sweat. Her face was a mask of confusion. "How could this be? Co Yin, I'll try another needle." With that, she tremblingly picked up a silver needle, but she couldn't bring herself to insert it. She was afraid Miss Yin would vomit blood again. "Divine Dr. Shen, what are you standing there for? Hurry and save her," Yin Haodong cried out anxiously. Shen Mengran's head was covered in cold sweat. She shook her head, her face pale. "It's no use. Co Yin, there's nothing I can do. Your daughter's condition is critical. You should prepare for the worst." When the Yin family heard this, their faces all turned pale with horror. Lin Yulan, standing nearby, was completely stunned. She mumbled blankly, vomiting fresh blood. Dying suddenly. It's exactly as he said. Could Hexue really be afflicted with a Gu poison? "Hurry up and apologize to Grandmaster Lin." Yin Changming turned and yelled at Yin Haodong. Yin Haodong was in a complete panic. It took him a long moment to come to his senses. He turned and walked towards me. Seeing this, Shen Mengran quickly blocked his path. Seo Yin, you're not actually going to believe him, are you? He's just a charlatan, shut up. Yin Haodong's eyes blazed with fury. He glared at Shen Menguan. He gritted his teeth. Shen Menguan, the truth is right in front of you. If anything happens to my daughter today, even if you're the disciple of divine Dr. Hua, he'll make you pay with your life. Shen Menguan stumbled back in fear, no longer daring to stand in his way. Yin Haodong dropped to his knees with a thud. Mr. Lin, before, my wife and I were at fault. I'm begging you, please save my daughter. Lin Yulan also fell to her knees, crying, Mr. Lin, I was wrong. Please be magnanimous. Forgive my ignorance. Yin Changming clasped his hands toward me. His old eyes were filled with pleading. Mr. Lin, CEO Yin, please get up. I frowned slightly. Since I already promised old Mr. Yin, I won't just stand by and watch. What? Yin Haodong crawled a few steps on his knees to get in front of me. He said sincerely, Mr. Lin, as long as you can save my daughter. I would walk through fire and climb a mountain of blades. I shook my head slightly. I helped Yin Haodong to his feet. I frowned. Seo Yin, you misunderstand. To save your daughter, you need to get me Cinnabar within 30 minutes. Any later than that, even if her life can be saved, there will be permanent damage. Cinnabar, right? I'll go get it myself. With that, Yin Haodong rushed out the door. A few minutes later, Yin Haodong ran back in holding a large bag of Cinnabar. He presented it to me. Mr. Lin, is this the right kind of Cinnabar? I glanced at it. I nodded. Yes. All unrelated personnel, get out now. All unrelated personnel, get out, Yin Changming ordered sternly. Old Mr. Yin, can I stay and help with Miss Yin? Shen Menguan asked, still unwilling to give up. Yin Changming hesitated for a moment, then said with a grim face, Fine, but don't get in Mr. Lin's way. Otherwise, I will absolutely not forgive you. With that, he and the others left the room. In the blink of an eye, only Shen Menguan and I were left in the room. I used a small bowl to mix the Cinnabar. I reached out to remove Yin Hexu's nightgown. What are you doing? Shen Menguan cried out in alarm. She reached out to stop me. What are you trying to do to Hexue? I frowned. I said displeased. Would you rather do it? Shen Menguan bit her lip. She frowned. Go on. But I'm warning you. If you dare do anything improper to Miss Yin, I won't let you off. Couldn't be bothered to waste words. I quickly removed Yin Hexu's nightgown. A soft, alluring figure was revealed. I took a deep breath. Using paper as a brush, I dipped it in the Cinnabar and began to draw a talisman on her body. Her skin was soft and smooth, like silk. It was clear she was well cared for. When the evil-suppressing talisman was complete, a black thread slowly appeared on Yin Hexu's chest. Seeing that black worm-like thread writhing, Shen Menguan, who had been so suspicious of me before, stared with wide, astonished eyes. What is that? Is it really a goo parasite? I smeared some Cinnabar onto my palm. I pressed it against the afflicted area on Yin Hexu's skin, slowly pushing upwards. As I did, I asked, Scalpel? Shen Menguan quickly handed me the scalpel. I made a small incision with the blade. I cut the skin just below Yin Hexu's collarbone. The next second, a jet of black blood shot out. A black goo parasite tried to crawl out of the incision. Shen Menguan saw the foot-long, black poisonous parasite. She was so scared she collapsed to the floor and screamed, What's going on? Hearing the scream, Yin Haodong and Lin Zidong burst through the door at the same time. But when they saw the scene before them, both were utterly stunned. I held a scalpel in one hand. My other hand was pressed on Yin Hexu's shoulder, and Yin Hexu's clothes were long gone. Lin Yuelin's eyes immediately widened. She shrieked piercingly, Mr. Lin, you! What have you done to my daughter? Lin Zidong gnashed his teeth and cursed, You, surnamed Lin, how dare you use treatment as an excuse to molest my niece? Yin Haodong's expression also became extremely gloomy. His anger was about to erupt. That's his daughter, after all. Mr. Lin, you had better give me a reasonable explanation, facing everyone's suspicion. I wasn't bothered in the slightest. This is the crucial moment. Although the goo worm has appeared, but with just one small mistake, it will crawl back into Yin Hexu's body. At that point, saving her will be much more difficult. The scalpel in my hand traced a silver arc. The tip of the blade aimed straight for the goo worm. With a flick of my wrist, I pried it up. That black 1-foot-long goo worm was plucked out of Yin Hexu's body by me. As soon as the worm hit the ground, it began to twist frantically and crawl towards Shen Menguan. Shen Menguan was already so scared she had collapsed to the ground. Seeing this, she let out another scream. Her delicate little face instantly flushed red. She was so scared that she wet herself. Just as the goo worm was less than a meter away from Shen Menguan, I suddenly grabbed a handful of Cinnabar and scattered it. Sizzle. In an instant, the black goo worm, right before everyone's eyes, dissolved into a pool of bloody pus. Everyone present involuntarily gasped. Miss Shen, are you all right? Lin Yuelin hurried forward to help her up. Shen Menguan was still terrified and hadn't composed herself. I'm fine. Shen Menguan's voice trembled. She used her clothes to cover her soaked lower half. She didn't even dare to look at me anymore. Mrs. Lin, could you find a room for me to change my clothes? Lin Yuelin was stunned for a moment. Then she nodded repeatedly. Of course you can. Miss Shen, please follow me. Mr. Lin, I misunderstood you just now. I hope you can be magnanimous. Yin Haodong looked at the pool of bloody pus on the ground. He said embarrassedly, "If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, he wouldn't have dared to believe any of this was real." I waved my hand lightly. "It's nothing. In 3 minutes at most, Miss Yin will wake up." "Really?" Yin Haodong and Yin Chengming were immediately overjoyed. Just then, a faint cough was heard. The unconscious Yin Hexue slowly opened her eyes. "Hexue, you're finally awake." Yin Chengming and his son, along with the medical staff, quickly surrounded her. I'm just a little hungry." Yin Hexue furrowed her beautiful eyebrows. She subconsciously touched her chest. "It hurts so much. It feels like someone was massaging it all night." Hearing these words, Yin Haodong finally breathed a sigh of relief. He said to her, "Hexue, it's a good thing Mr. Lin saved you. Hurry and thank Mr. Lin." Yin Hexue turned her head with difficulty and said, "Thank you for saving my life, Mr. Lin. You're welcome." I gave her a slight nod. Then I said to Yin Haodong, "CEO Yin, Miss Yin is fine now. With a few days of rest, she can make a full recovery. If there's nothing else, he'll be taking my leave." Yin Changming quickly took a bank card out of his pocket. "Mr. Lin, it was all thanks to you. This 50 million is a small token of my gratitude. Please accept it." I smiled and shook my head. "There's no need. If it weren't for President Zhang's sake, I wouldn't have intervened. You should keep this money. A mere 50 million is nothing in my eyes." Yin Changming saw this. He frowned slightly, realizing he had just been a bit tactless. His eyes darted and he said, "Mr. Lin, a few days ago I happened to acquire an item. Perhaps you might like it. Please, follow me." With that, Yin Changming led me into the study. He took a wooden box from a bookshelf cabinet. He opened it carefully. Inside was a palm-sized jade green bronze cauldron. My eyes lit up. "The medicine god cauldron, Mr. Lin. This thing is of no use to me, but I believe it will be of great use in your hands. If you don't mind, please accept it." Yan Chengming said. He held the wooden box out in front of me. I frowned slightly. "This isn't quite right. A gentleman does not take what another man cherishes. The value of the medicine god cauldron is beyond measure. Mr. Lin, please don't be so polite. Compared to Hexu's life, this medicine god cauldron is fundamentally nothing," Yin Chengming said. He bowed deeply to me, seeing his sincerity in gifting it. I no longer refused. I took the medicine god cauldron. "In that case, thank you for your generosity, old Master Yin." Seeing me accept it, Yin Changming smiled and said, "You're too polite, Mr. Lin. A fine sword is given to a hero. It's just that this old man has one more unreasonable request. I hope you can agree to it." I raised an eyebrow. "Please speak, old Master Yin." "Tomorrow morning, our Yin family will be holding at the Tianyi Hotel a pharmaceutical investment conference. At that time, we will select a partner company from dozens of pharmaceutical groups in Tanjiang. But our Yin family has just entered the pharmaceutical field and lacks connections. We would like to invite Mr. Lin to attend as a guest, to help us evaluate the formulas and finished medicinal products that those companies provide, to see if they are truly reliable." Yin Changming looked at me with sincere eyes. I hesitated for a moment, and nodded. "All right, I happen to have nothing to do anyway. You'll consider it a leisurely outing." Yin Changming was overjoyed. "Thank you, Mr. Lin. I will definitely come to pick you up myself then." Haodong, personally escort Mr. Lin home. I frowned. "Co Yin, there's no need to see me off. You'll just find a hotel nearby to stay at." Both Yin Changming and his son revealed looks of confusion. "Mr. Lin, you are?" I gave a bitter laugh. "It's nothing, just preparing for a divorce. I don't want to see her." "Divorce?" Yin Changming and Yin Haodong were both stunned. Immediately after, Yin Changming hurriedly took a set of keys from his pocket. "Mr. Lin, it was my lack of consideration. These are the keys to the Tanjiang Garden Villa. It's worth 300 million, a gift for you." Before he could finish speaking, I had already shaken my head. "There's no need. After the divorce cooling-off period ends, I will return to Jingcheng. Old Master Yin doesn't need to go to such expense." Yin Changming gave a forced laugh. "Mr. Lin, even if it's just for a few days' stay, it's still more convenient than a hotel. At worst, you can just return it to me later." After saying this without waiting for me to refuse, he said to Yin Haodong, "Haodong, personally take Mr. Lin there, then send a few housekeepers to clean it up." Yin Haodong took the keys. "Mr. Lin, let's go." It's hard to refuse such hospitality. I had no choice but to nod. "Co Yin, I'm going to the restroom for a moment." "All right, I'll wait for you at the door," Yin Haodong said. A few minutes later, I had just stepped out of the restroom when I ran into Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan waiting at the door. "Lin Feng, why are you here?" Bai Ningbing looked at me in astonishment. I frowned slightly. Looking at them, I said coldly, "Where I am. Has anything to do with you?" Bai Ningbing was stunned. My cold attitude made her feel estranged. "Lin Feng, do you know what you're saying? I'm asking you why you're here. Are you stalking me? Stalking you? Are you sick?" I shot her a glare, feeling baffled. "We've been married for several years. I have never disliked her as much as I do now. If you're not stalking me, then why did you show up here?" Bai Ningbing frowned, sizing me up. She's the CEO of the Bai Corporation. Even for her, meeting Old Master Yin is as difficult as climbing to the heavens. How could Old Master Yin possibly let a good-for-nothing like you in? What if you snuck in here and offended Old Master Yin? The entire Bai Corporation will be doomed forever. What you think is your business. I have no obligation to explain. Please move aside, I said with a displeased expression. Lin Feng Bai Ningbing reached out and grabbed my arm. She said resentfully, I've already explained to you many times. There's really nothing going on between me and Fang Yuan. We've been busy with company matters this whole time. Why can't you just understand? Stalking me like this is going too far. I let out a soft laugh. So busy you don't even come home to sleep? You two can take your time being busy. I have things to do, so I'm leaving. After saying that, I intended to leave. Fang Yuan blocked my path. He said with a gentle smile, Brother Feng, perhaps you've really misunderstood me and Ningbing. We really are busy with proper business. Besides, that night, I shot him a cold glance and interrupted coldly. What you two did that night, I have no interest in hearing about it. Move. With that, I shoved Fang Yuan aside forcefully and walked towards the black car at the entrance. Fang Yuan was pushed back several steps. He nearly bumped into the potted plant by the door. Fortunately, Bai Ningbing quickly pulled him back. Fang Yuan, are you okay? Fang Yuan said with a wronged expression. I'm fine. Brother Feng probably misunderstood us again. It's fine for me to suffer a little injustice. It wouldn't be good if it affects your relationship. How about I come to your house to apologize another day and explain everything clearly to him? Bai Ningbing snorted and called out loudly, Lin Feng, you stop right there. What right do you have to treat Fang Yuan like that? Do you have any idea how much effort he's put in to help me win the contract with the Yin family? And you? Besides stalking me and suspecting me, what else have you ever done for me? You come back here and apologize to Fang Yuan? I just snorted coldly. I opened the car door and got in, watching the car slowly start. Bai Ningbing's expression was extremely ugly. She only had a few meals with Fang Yuan, watched a few movies and saw the sunrise a few times. They are childhood sweethearts. Why do you have to be so petty? Seeing Bai Ningbing's ugly expression, Fang Yuan sighed softly. Ningbing, don't blame Brother Feng anymore. I think he might have heard about your company's situation, so he came to find connections because he wanted to help. It's just that his methods are a bit self-righteous. If he were to offend Old Master Yin, then all our efforts during this time would go down the drain. Speaking of which, he deliberately sighed with regret. Let's not talk about it. Bai Ningbing was pale with anger. She clenched her fists. If he were even half the man you are, he wouldn't do such reckless things. She was truly exhausted right now. It's one thing for him to not be able to help, but he even goes around causing trouble. She didn't know how to maintain this marriage anymore. Just as Bai Ningbing was lost in thought, Fang Yuan's phone suddenly rang. He looked at the caller ID. A look of joy appeared on his face. It's Manager Shu calling. Hurry and answer. Ask him if he can find a way for us to meet Old Master Yin. Bai Ningbing's annoyance was swept away. She said, full of expectation. Fang Yuan pressed the answer button. Manager Xu, you were looking for me? On the phone, Manager Shu said, do you want to cooperate with our group? Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at the 11th floor conference hall of Tianyi Hotel. Old Master Yin and CEO Yin will personally preside over the signing ceremony. Whether you can sign the deal or not will depend on yourselves. He hung up right after speaking. Fang Yuan put his phone away. He said with a serious tone, Manager Xu informed us to attend the signing ceremony tomorrow morning. Old Master Yin and CEO Yin probably want to select a partner company on the spot at the conference. We have to present 1 or 2 special products. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to stand out. Special products? Bai Ningbing was a bit awkward. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. Our company has a beauty cream. It can remove scars in a short time. The effect is very good. It's just what? Fang Yuan hurriedly pressed. It's just that this beauty cream was specially formulated for me by Lin Feng. It hasn't been put into production yet. Besides, he's the one who developed it. Bai Ningbing was a bit embarrassed. She had treated me very badly just a moment ago. Now she had to go and beg me. She really couldn't bring herself to do it. Ningbing, I think Brother Feng is a reasonable person. Why don't you give him a call and see? Fang Yuan forced a smile, hiding his embarrassment. I guess that's the only way. Bai Ningbing took a deep breath and took out her phone to call me, but the call was disconnected as soon as it connected. She was so angry her hands were shaking. She called again more than 10 times. Each time the call was immediately disconnected. Ningbing, stop calling. Brother Feng must be furious. Fang Yuan said, how about we think of another way? Let someone else attend in Brother Feng's place. After all, it's just attending a signing ceremony. As long as we get the cooperation contract, Brother Feng will also be a beneficiary, he said meaningfully. That's right. Bai Ningbing suddenly had a realization. Why didn't I think of that just now? After all, it's just a formula he casually wrote down. It's fine to have someone else replace him for a bit. Thinking of this, she looked at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan, tomorrow you'll take Lin Feng's place. Attend the Yin family signing ceremony. A glint of joy flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes, but his face feigned difficulty. Ningbing, this isn't very appropriate. There might be a lot of media coverage at that time. Wouldn't I be stealing Brother Feng's spotlight? There's no time left. Let's just decide on that. Bai Ningbing interrupted him. We must win the cooperation with the Yin family. I think even if Lin Feng finds out, he won't mind. After all, this is for the company's development. As soon as Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan returned to the company, they called the head of the R&D department into the office. I remember over a year ago, Lin Feng, did he ever give you that formula? The one that can remove scars? Bai Ningbing asked seriously. The head of the R&D department, Chen Hao, nodded repeatedly. Of course I remember. I still have it stored here. Turn this formula into a finished cream overnight. Then give the ingredient list to Fang Yuan to look over, Bai Ningbing said. Chen Hao frowned. "CEO Bai," Mr. Lin said. "This formula still has flaws. It can't be mass-produced and sold." Before Bai Ningbing could speak, Fang Yuan said with a stern face, "Director Chen, let me ask you, who owns this company? Who pays your salary?" Chen Hao bit his lip, troubled. He lowered his head. "CEO Bai told you to quickly make the formula. It's to win the cooperation with the Yin family. It affects the future of the Bai group. As a company employee, you should give your all for the company's development, understand?" After Fang Yuan finished speaking, he turned back to look at Bai Ningbing. "Ningbing, am I wrong?" Bai Ningbing smiled at Fang Yuan, then said to Chen Hao, "Director Chen, just do as I say." Chen Hao took a deep breath, and had no choice but to nod. "All right, I'll get on it right away." After saying that, he quickly walked out of the office. But he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I had said the formula had flaws, but I didn't specify what the flaws were. At this time, in the Namjiao Villa, I was on a video call with a middle-aged man on the other end. The man on the screen was over 40 years old. He had a dignified appearance. It was my father, Lin Guolong. "Xiao Feng, old Master Tang, has suddenly fallen gravely ill. The matter of your marriage to the young miss of the Tang family, I'm afraid it will have to be postponed for a while." Lin Guolong looked at me with a heavy expression. He paused for a moment, then spoke again. "If you don't have anything important going on, you should come back quickly to treat old Master Tang. Perhaps?" Before he could finish, I interrupted him. "Dad, I don't owe the Tang family anything. Agreeing to marry her was only to save face for you and Grandpa. Why should I go all that way back to treat old Master Tang?" Seeing me refuse so bluntly, Lin Guolong understood his son's temperament. He didn't say any more. "Fine, if you won't treat him, you won't treat him." "Oh, right, when are you coming back?" "A month or a month and a half," I said thoughtfully. "Why so long? It's not because of that woman, is it?" Lin Guolong frowned. His tone was a bit displeased. "Because of her?" I chuckled softly. "I wouldn't waste a month because of her. As for the specific matter, Dad, don't ask anymore. Just take good care of Mom. I have another call coming in. I'm hanging up now." After saying that, I hung up the phone. Seeing the caller ID was Chen Hao, I answered the call. "What is it, Brother Feng? Do you remember a year ago after CEO Bai injured her ankle? You formulated that remedy to help her remove the scar?" Chen Hao's voice was very respectful. "I remember. What's wrong?" I said coldly. "CEO Bai told me to immediately turn that formula of yours into a cream, and also said..." Chen Hao explained all of Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan's intentions. He recounted Bai Ningbing's and Fang Yuan's plan to me in detail. I chuckled and shook my head. "It's fine, just do as they say. I have my own way of handling it. This cream won't make it to the market." "Ah, then I'm relieved. Sorry to bother you, Brother Feng." After speaking, Chen Hao hung up. I put down the phone. I was just about to get up and find something to eat in the kitchen. The phone rang again. The caller ID showed Lin Qingyue. I frowned. She is Bai Ningbing's best friend, and also the CEO of Lin Pharmaceuticals. Years ago she pursued me along with Bai Ningbing. It's just that I chose Bai Ningbing in the end. After getting married, I almost never contacted her again. After hesitating for a moment, I still answered the phone. "I thought you wouldn't answer my call again." A clear female voice came from the other end. "If you have something to say it quickly." "I'm still hungry." I frowned. Treating the young miss of the Yin family this afternoon drained quite a bit of my energy. I'm really hungry now. What a coincidence, I'm hungry too. How about we go get a meal together? Lin Qingyue seized the opportunity to suggest. Not going. I refused decisively. Back when Lin Qingyue was pursuing me, she did a lot of crazy things. I don't want to get involved with her anymore. "Aren't you already planning to divorce? Why are you still keeping such a distance?" Lin Qingyue said, dissatisfied. "How do you know?" I was full of surprise. "Of course I know." Lin Qingyue deliberately dragged out her words. "Fine, I'm hanging up." Just as I was about to hang up, she said, "Wait," Lin Qingyue said hurriedly. "Let me show you something. Maybe you'll change your mind." After speaking, she sent a picture over. I frowned and opened the picture. In it were Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan, hand in hand, walking on the beach. The timestamp showed it was from 3 years ago. But wasn't Bai Ningbing pursuing you at that time? What do you think? Isn't it shocking? I have a lot more. As long as you agree to have dinner with me, I'll tell you everything I know, Lin Qingyue said. A cold glint flashed in my eyes. I let out a heavy breath. Fine. You set the time and place. 7 p.m. tonight. Tianyue Restaurant, Emperor Room number 1. Be there or be square. Lin Qingyue happily hung up the phone. Half an hour later, I walked into Emperor Room number 1 on time. Haven't seen her in 3 years. Lin Qingyue had become even more charming. The long floral dress on her was just enough to cover her figure. Seeing me walk in, a charming smile appeared on her exquisite face. Lin Feng, long time no see. Long time no see. I politely extended my hand. Lin Qingyue, who had intended to hug me, was taken aback. She shook my hand with a hint of disappointment. Sit down, order whatever you want to eat. After sitting down, Lin Qingyue handed me the menu. I casually ordered a few of my usual favorite dishes. I took a sip of water and looked at her. You're looking for me because of the cooperation with the Yin family, right? Lin Qingyue was stunned for a moment. I didn't expect you to be so direct. Others may not understand you, but how could I not know? With your medical skills, it's not hard to come up with 1 or 2 formulas. I heard that Bai Ningbing injured her ankle a year ago. If it weren't for your formula, she would have had a scar long ago, for the past 3 years. Although she hasn't contacted me, she has always been secretly following my news. Why should I help you? I looked up at Lin Qingyue. My tone was cold. I can provide you with evidence. To help you take back everything that belongs to you, Lin Qingyue said. She opened her social media feed and handed the phone to me. Look, these are her posts from the past few years. As expected, there was a lot of content that I couldn't see. I also know. Over the years, many of the BI Group's flagship products were actually researched and developed by you, even by normal cooperation standards. You should have at least half of it. I ignored what she said. I lowered my head and scrolled through Bai Ningbing's social media feed. One by one, photos of Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan on the beach. Photos of them strolling, holding hands, and shopping appeared before my eyes. Doesn't it hurt your heart? Lin Qingyue said. Let me tell you another secret. Everyone else can see these photos, including her parents and friends. Only you can't see them. I let out 2 cold laughs. Only now did I understand why the last time I went with Bai Ningbing to attend her class reunion. Everyone looked at me with strange eyes. Hundreds of intimate photos of Bai Ningbing, with Fang Yuan on her social media, were like knives stabbing into my heart. I put the phone down and looked at Lin Qingyue. What's the point of showing me these things now? Everything about her has nothing to do with me anymore. I just don't want you to continue being deceived. Lin Qingyue said. Lin Feng, as long as you provide our company with formulas like the ones the BI Group has, I can give you a 30-70 split. 70 for me, 30 for you. How about it? Seeing that the photos couldn't make me angry, she had to play her final card. Normally, I should be furious right now. I let out a soft laugh. I looked at her and said, to cooperate with me. The Lin family isn't qualified yet. After speaking, I slowly stood up and walked out of the private room. When I reached the door, I suddenly stopped. However, I can give you a blood pressure lowering formula, but you only have 1 night to make it. Whether you succeed or not is up to you. After speaking, I wrote a prescription and threw it on the table, then quickly walked out of the room. Lin Feng, wait! Lin Qingyue was completely stunned. I had refused to cooperate. Why would I still give her a formula? The next day, on the 11th floor of the Tianyi Hotel, the conference hall was packed with people. The beauty cream from the Bai Group and the special blood pressure medication from the Lin Group were hard to tell apart in quality. Even the Yin father and son found it difficult to make a decision. Didn't I tell you to send someone to pick up Mr. Lin? Why isn't he here yet? Yin Changming frowned deeply. He said to Yin Haodong with dissatisfaction, Dad, there's traffic on the road. Mr. Lin won't be here for another 10 minutes or so, Yin Haodong said helplessly. But with so many people watching, we can't wait another 10 minutes. Yin Changming looked at the VIPs and reporters in the audience. His heart was burning with anxiety. Dad, I've already made some inquiries. Miss Bai is Mr. Lin's wife. Although they're in the process of divorcing, they still have 3 years of marriage between them. Who knows if they might remarry? As I see it, we might as well give the collaboration opportunity to the Bai Group. I believe that after Mr. Lin finds out, he will understand our good intentions, Yin Haodong said. Yin Changming nodded repeatedly. Makes sense? Then you should make the announcement. Yin Haodong stood up and said, Although the blood pressure medication from the Line Group has remarkable effects, after careful consideration, we have decided to officially sign the contract with the Bai Group. In the audience, Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan were immediately overjoyed. Next, please welcome the researcher of this beauty cream, Mr. Fang Yuan, along with the CEO of the Bai Group, Miss Bai Ningbing, to the stage to complete the signing ceremony. Yin Haodong announced, Thank you, President Yin, for your favor. Fang Yuan stood on the main stage. He was so excited that his whole body trembled. Just then, a discordant voice came from the door. President Yin, I do not agree with you signing a contract with the Bai Group. I slowly walked into the hall. Mr. Lin? The Yin father and son were filled with astonishment. Could they have been wrong? I never wanted to give the collaboration to the Bai Group in the first place, if that's the case. Didn't they just do something unnecessary? The moment Fang Yuan, under the stage lights, saw me, his expression immediately turned ugly. Why didn't you come earlier or later? But had to come at this exact moment. Although he was very tense, he didn't panic at all. He was certain that I would absolutely not, in a public place, embarrass Bai Ningbing. That's why he dared to let Bai Ningbing replace me as the researcher. Bai Ningbing, with an ugly expression, stepped down from the main stage and quickly walked up to me. She frowned and asked, Lin Feng, What are you doing here? Move aside. I came for him. I didn't spare her any face. I pointed at Fang Yuan on the stage and said loudly. The thousands of guests at the scene were all filled with astonishment. They looked towards Fang Yuan, whose expression was unnatural. Fang Yuan saw that I was disregarding Bai Ningbing's feelings. His heart tightened. Brother Feng, can we talk about our misunderstanding at home? Today is very important for Ningbing and the Bai group. Before he could finish speaking, I raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. Brother Feng, why did you hit me? Fang Yuan looked at Bai Ningbing with a wronged expression. Just as Bai Ningbing was about to pull me away, she was pushed aside by me. I pointed at Fang Yuan's nose and yelled coldly, "Who gave you the nerve to take the beauty cream I developed and use it to commit fraud?" As soon as these words were spoken, the whole auditorium was in an uproar. My God, what's happening? I heard this line Fang is a freeloader. Did he really develop this beauty cream? If it's true, then this is truly shocking news. Hearing everyone's discussion, Bai Ningbing's face immediately changed color. She hurriedly pulled my arm and said in a low voice, Lin Feng, stop causing trouble. Whatever it is, let's talk about it at home. Don't, on such an important occasion, make me and Fang Yuan lose face, okay? Get lost. I shook her hand off. I walked up to Fang Yuan and said coldly, Fang Yuan, I'm warning you. Stealing someone else's research is against the law. If you don't want to go to jail, then tell the truth in front of all the media. Fang Yuan's face immediately turned pale. He stared at me, stunned. He panted and said, Brother Feng, I know you haven't accomplished anything since getting married. You want to prove yourself in front of Ningbing, but you can't force me to lie. I burst out laughing. I clapped him on the shoulder and said coldly, Fang Yuan, I'm afraid you don't even know the formula for this beauty cream, do you? Even if you had the full formula, you wouldn't understand how to compound traditional Chinese medicine. At this point, I snatched the jar of beauty cream from Fang Yuan's hand. I said to the reporters in the audience, I formulated this beauty cream a year ago when Bai Ningbing injured her ankle. It can indeed remove scars, but it uses a traditional Chinese medicinal herb called Wu Si Teng. This herb contains a lot of melanin. After use, it will cause irreversible melanin deposits. Without the neutralizing decoction I provide, it will leave the user with irreparable damage. After speaking, I turned to look at Yin Haodong, President Yin. I wonder if the Yin Group's inspection team has arrived at the scene. Yin Haodong immediately called to the people at the door, Someone, quickly take this for testing according to Mr. Lin's words. Only then did I walk up to Fang Yuan with my hands behind my back. I said with a cold laugh, Unexpected, isn't it? This beauty cream originally had an irreparable flaw. What do you have to say for yourself now? Do you need me to help you call the police? Fang Yuan clenched his fists. He had originally thought he could rely on this beauty cream to become the new star of the medical world, but my words had completely destroyed his future and reputation. He was unwilling to accept it, but there was nothing he could do. Tears of humiliation flowed uncontrollably. Seeing Fang Yuan shed tears, Bai Ningbing couldn't hold back anymore. Lin Feng, what are you doing? Isn't it just a formula? What's the big deal? Do you have to push Fang Yuan into a corner? I snorted coldly. Why not? That's my formula. Even if I were to throw it in the trash, it's not his turn to take it and commit fraud. Lin Feng, that's enough. Seeing that I wouldn't listen, Bai Ningbing completely exploded. She yelled loudly, It's one thing that you're usually no help to me. As my husband, you insist on coming at this critical moment to ruin things for me in front of everyone for your own selfish reasons. Lin Feng, I must have been blind. How could I have married someone like you in the first place? I laughed coldly. I'm the one who should be saying they have regrets. It's one thing for you and him not to come home 2 days ago. Now you're even using my formula as a stepping stone for Fang Yuan. You want me to turn a blind eye? Before Bai Ningbing could retort, I continued speaking. Besides, I'm not doing this for personal gain, but for the tens of thousands of patients in the world. As a doctor, I cannot let them suffer lifelong regret because they used a flawed medicine. My words were firm and resolute. They echoed throughout the hall. Half a minute later, thunderous applause suddenly erupted from the audience. At this moment, the head of the inspection department quickly stepped onto the main stage. He said to Yin Haodong, President Yin, Unbelievably, after testing, this beauty cream does indeed contain a lot of melanin. Yin Haodong raised an eyebrow. If someone were to use it, what would be the consequences? It would leave dark spots. Moreover, they cannot be removed. Even with skin graft surgery, it's impossible to remove them 100%. The inspection team leader said seriously. Hearing these words, the reporters and guests present respected me even more, while the looks they gave Fang Yuan were full of contempt. Bai Ningbing also realized the seriousness of the situation. Now she just wanted to leave quickly. To minimize the impact of this matter on her and the company, she hurriedly explained, Lin Feng, don't misunderstand. Fang Yuan is now the general manager of our company's marketing department. I thought you wouldn't care about one or two formulas anyway, and the company was in a hurry to win the collaboration with the Yin family, so I had Fang Yuan step in. On one hand, we could secure the collaboration smoothly. On the other hand, it could also help Fang Yuan use this signing ceremony to become famous. It would be beneficial for his career. I really didn't have any ill intentions. Lin Feng, why do you have to be so petty? The formula I developed, why should he get to use it to glorify himself? Even though you and I were once married, that is still my personal achievement. Don't you think you should have asked for my opinion first? I retorted. Bai Ningbing glared at me, her eyes filled with anger. She took a deep breath and said resentfully, so what if I was wrong? Stop making a scene. It's just one formula. It's really not worth all this. I laughed coldly. Just one formula? 2 years ago, when the Bai group was at its lowest point, if I hadn't given you 5 formulas at once, could you have recovered the several flagship products in your company? Which one wasn't from a formula I provided? And you still think this is just about one formula? The guests in the audience all looked at me in astonishment. The 6 core medicines of the Bai group are all products for treating hard-to-cure chronic diseases on the market. Just one of them could become the flagship product of other companies. Lin Feng, I'm begging you, let's talk about this at home, Bai Ningbing said, losing control of her emotions. Why force yourself? You don't have to beg me. I showed her no mercy. The fact that she casually offered my work to Feng Yuan had crossed my line. I ignored Bai Ningbing's warning glare and turned my head to look at Feng Yuan. I'll give you one chance. Kneel before all the media and apologize to the audience watching on TV. I might consider not calling the police, otherwise you can just wait to go to jail. Feng Yuan flinched. Brother Feng, I really know I was wrong. Can I just apologize to you? I laughed coldly. Oh, so it's all right now? Fine. After saying that, I directly called the police. Lin Feng Bai Ningbing hurriedly grabbed my hand. Must you make everyone lose face? What will it take for you to let this go? She was truly terrified. If the police got involved based on the market value of this beauty cream, Fang Yuan would be sentenced to at least 20 years. The Bai group would also go into a steep decline because of this, and even go bankrupt. Let him kneel and apologize. I didn't back down one bit. Bai Ningbing was so anxious she was about to cry. If Fang Yuan really knelt and apologized, his future would be completely ruined. His years of arduous study abroad would also be for nothing. Thinking of this, she became completely enraged. Taking a few deep breaths, she looked at me furiously. If you still consider me your wife. Before she could finish, I cut her off coldly. You already signed the divorce papers yesterday. Now I'm only asking him, will you kneel or not? What? Bai Ningbing looked at me, full of shock. Did you just say I signed the divorce papers? What divorce papers? It's understandable that you don't remember. At that time, your white moonlight was scalded by hot tea. You were busy taking him to the hospital. How could you have the presence of mind to look at the agreement? I laughed coldly. Bai Ningbing only then remembered the scene at the tea house. At the time, she was wondering what I had made her sign. She never expected it to be divorce papers. I looked at Bai Ningbing, who was standing there stunned, and raised the microphone to say to everyone in the audience, Ladies and gentlemen, it's not that I, Lin Feng, am heartless and ungrateful, but that Bai Ningbing here went to great lengths to care for her white moonlight Fang Yuan, even bringing him into the company as the marketing general manager. Then she failed to come home for 2 consecutive nights. Now she even takes my research achievements and uses them as a stepping stone for Feng Yuan. Tell me, everyone, who could tolerate such a woman? The people in the audience were both shocked and contemptuous as they looked towards Bai Ningbing and Feng Yuan. Lin Feng, you've gone too far. Bai Ningbing was completely furious. She couldn't believe I thought she was so dirty. She was nice to Feng Yuan, only to make up for the regrets in her heart. She couldn't possibly live with me for the rest of her life carrying that regret. She did it so she could live a better life with me. In a fit of extreme shame and anger, Bai Ningbing couldn't take it anymore. She raised her hand to slap my face. The next second, a loud slap echoed through the hall. The one who was hit wasn't me, it was Bai Ningbing. To everyone's astonishment, I raised my hand to block her slap, then swung my hand and slapped her back. Bai Ningbing's left cheek swelled up immediately. Blood trickled from her nose and mouth. Who gave you the confidence to lay a hand on me? I looked at her coldly. Not even the old master of the Lin family has ever slapped me in front of everyone. You dare to hit me? Bai Ningbing was stunned by the slap. Me, the one who had always pampered her unconditionally, had dared to hit her in public. Her reply was, another resounding slap from me. Is it confirmed now? I sneered. This scene made the guests in the audience look at each other. Yin Changming and his son were even more astonished. Luckily, I arrived in time, otherwise they would have made a huge mistake. If they had really given the contract to the Bai Corporation, they would have completely offended me. No, after this press conference, I must have all companies associated with the Yin family sever all ties with the Bai Corporation. Bai Ningbing held her face, tears streaming down. Lin Feng, are you still the man who spoiled me to the heavens? Married for 3 years, let alone hitting me, you never even raised your voice at me. No matter how stubborn I was, you were always gentle and polite. Cut the crap, Fang Yuan. Are you going to kneel or not? Just give me a straight answer. I couldn't be bothered with her anymore, and loudly questioned Fang Yuan. It was the first time Fang Yuan, in front of so many people, was questioned like this. His eyes welled up with tears threatening to fall. Bai Ningbing wiped her tears, forced a smile, and walked up to me, pleading in a low voice. Honey, I'm begging you, don't let Fang Yuan lose face in front of everyone, okay? If he kneels, his future will be truly ruined. How could he make a name for himself in the medical field after this? I chuckled softly, ignoring Bai Ningbing, and looked at Fang Yuan. What's wrong? Didn't you always claim to be a great talent returned from abroad? All you can do is hide behind a woman and cry? Are you even a man? Cut the crap. Kneel or not. Give me a straight answer. Bai Ningbing took a deep breath and said patiently, Lin Feng, I'm begging you, please don't pursue this any further. Fang Yuan just returned to the country. He's just started to build a foundation for his career. I impatiently cut Bai Ningbing off. I didn't want to get into it with you this much at first, but you've successfully pissed me off. With that, I picked up the microphone and pointed at Bai Ningbing. You should remember that 2 years ago I gave 5 formulas to your Bai Corporation, right? And last summer, that heart disease formula that you demanded from me. Now I am formally demanding you to immediately stop the production of these 6 medicines, and within 1 week, you must return the patent rights for these 6 formulas. Otherwise, the BAI Corporation can wait for a letter from my lawyer. Then I turned to face the crowd below the stage. I know that among you here, many have worked with or are currently working with the BAI Corporation, or are currently working with them. I am officially announcing here that I am revoking the patent rights for the 6 flagship drugs that the BAI Corporation is currently selling. If any company continues to sell the related products, I will hold them accountable for copyright infringement. I hope you all know what's good for you. As soon as these words were spoken, Bai Ningbing beside me was completely stunned. She never expected that, no matter what, I would dare to revoke the patent rights for these 6 formulas. Lin Feng, do you know what you're saying? She was truly terrified. Without these 6 formulas, the BAI Corporation basically has no valuable products. Are you deaf or do you not understand human language? I shot her a sideways glance, then looked impatiently at Fang Yuan. Yin Changming, who had been silent until now, gave Yin Haodong a signal. They had misunderstood my intentions earlier. Now was the perfect opportunity to correct their mistake. Yin Haodong immediately understood. His face darkened as he snorted coldly. You, surnamed Fang, who gave you the guts to deceive my Yin family? Do you think my Yin family is a pushover? Yin Haodong's furious roar made the staff nearby step back repeatedly. The guests in the audience also all turned to look at Fang Yuan with pity. Everyone knew that CEO Yin had always been refined and rarely got angry. CEO Yin Just as Fang Yuan was about to defend himself, Yin Haodong lifted his foot and kicked, kicking him hard in the stomach. Fang Yuan was sent flying more than a meter and fell to the ground with a thud. Men, beat him to death for me. Beat him until he kneels and apologizes, Yin Haodong roared. 2 bodyguards in black immediately stepped forward, walking towards Fang Yuan. Wait a moment. Bai Ningbing hurriedly rushed forward to shield Fang Yuan. She knew very well, with the power of the Yin family, let alone just beating up Fang Yuan, even if they broke his legs, no one would dare to cause trouble for the Yin family. It was better to admit defeat now than to let the Yin family's men beat Fang Yuan half to death. Fang Yuan, stop it. Don't be so stubborn. Just kneel and apologize. Bai Ningbing advised helplessly. Bai Ningbing, what are you saying? Fang Yuan looked at her in disbelief. You want me, in front of so many reporters, in front of the cameras, to admit that I stole the research of that useless Lin Feng? Do you know what this one kneel would mean for me? My future will be completely ruined, in his eyes. As long as Bai Ningbing was a little more determined, even if she threatened him with death, today's matter could be resolved peacefully. At least he wouldn't have to kneel and apologize. Fang Yuan, see the situation clearly. Bai Ningbing sighed helplessly. You've seen it too. Even the Yin family is on his side. Can you fight against the Yin family? Fine. I'll kneel. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with resentment and humiliation. He stood up and knelt with a thud in front of the cameras. Kowtowing, he shouted unwillingly, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I shouldn't have, without knowing about the side effects. Stolen someone else's research. I, Fang Yuan, apologized to everyone. After saying that, he kowtowed 3 times resoundingly. He would remember this humiliation for the rest of his life. One day, he would repay me, 10, 100 times over. Wait, just as Fang Yuan was about to stand up, Yin Haodong lifted his foot and stepped on his shoulder. CO Yin, I've already kowtowed and apologized. Can I go now? Fang Yuan held back his tears, looking up pitifully at Yin Haodong. Yin Haodong sneered, his expression suddenly sinking. You stole Mr. Lin's research. Shouldn't you kowtow a few times to Mr. Lin and apologize while you're at it? What? Fang Yuan clenched his fists, his knuckles cracking. To tell him, a top student returned from abroad, to kowtow and apologize to that good-for-nothing loser was worse than killing him. Yin Haodong snorted coldly and looked at the media reporters. End the live stream now. The reporters immediately understood him and immediately cut the live broadcast. Yin Haodong narrowed his eyes and said coldly, "If you don't kowtow and apologize to Mr. Lin today, you'll have my men throw you from the 11th floor. Either you kowtow and apologize, or you fall to your death. You choose." Fang Yuan saw the killing intent in Yin Haodong's eyes, and a sense of helplessness washed over him. He believed that, if he said even half a word of refusal, Yin Haodong would really dare to throw him down. "Co Yin, I'm sorry." He struggled to his feet and walked in front of me, and knelt with a thud. A sense of humiliation immediately engulfed his entire body. He bit his lip hard, until he tasted the metallic tang of blood. Only then did he manage to hold back his tears. He kowtowed 3 times resoundingly in a row, but his throat felt like it was stuffed with cotton, unable to make a sound. Yin Haodong swung his hand and slapped Fang Yuan. He cursed loudly. "Are you mute? I told you to apologize to Mr. Lin." Fang Yuan held his face. The tears could no longer be held back, and they streamed out. He took several deep breaths, glared at me, and said chokingly, "Brother Feng, I'm sorry." I waved my hand impatiently. "Get lost. I don't want to see you again. Get lost already." Yin Haodong lifted his foot and kicked, knocking Fang Yuan off the stage. Seeing this scene, Bai Ningbing's expression also became extremely ugly. The halo around Fang Yuan quickly faded in that instant. She didn't even dare to look at him again. She covered her face and rushed towards the hall's exit. If she had known this would be the outcome, she would have died before letting Fang Yuan impersonate me. Although there was resentment in her heart, there was more fear. She was afraid that I would really revoke those 6 formulas. If so, the Bai Corporation would fall into an unprecedented crisis. But even now, she still couldn't understand, why did you suddenly become like this? Isn't it just one formula? Although during their 3 years of marriage, she had gone on dates with Fang Yuan many times, walked on the beach together, and spent a lot of time with him. But that was only to make up for the past. She never thought about divorcing me, and she couldn't understand why things had come to this. Once I've calmed down, I'll find some time to talk to him seriously. Maybe we can resolve the misunderstanding, Bai Ningbing thought to herself. Just as she stepped out of the hotel entrance, Fang Yuan's anxious call came from behind. "Ningbing, wait for me." Bai Ningbing stopped, looking with a complicated expression at Fang Yuan, who was chasing after her. "Ningbing, I'm sorry. I really didn't expect things to turn out like this, but I really just wanted to help you," Fang Yuan said, looking aggrieved. "Brother Feng misunderstands me too deeply, but even so, he shouldn't have, on such an important occasion." He was halfway through his sentence when he noticed the worship and admiration in Bai Ningbing's eyes were quickly fading. His heart tightened, and he quickly changed his tone. "Ningbing, don't misunderstand. I don't blame Brother Feng. I just feel it's a pity. We were so close, we could have partnered with the Yin family." Bai Ningbing shook her head forcefully and said impatiently, "All right, don't say any more. This is between me and Lin Feng. I'm going back first. Leave me alone." "Ningbing, where are you going? Can I go with you?" Fang Yuan asked with a look of concern, as if the recent embarrassment had never happened. Bai Ningbing frowned, mumbling, "To the company. I need to find a time to talk seriously with Lin Feng." "Ningbing, you don't need to fight with Brother Feng over my issue. I'm really fine. It's nothing to suffer a little injustice for you." Fang Yuan still wanted to explain himself. "Just go home, I'm tired." Bai Ningbing cut him off impatiently, got into the car without looking back, and drove away. Watching Bai Ningbing's car lights fade into the distance, Fang Yuan's expression gradually twisted, his eyes filled with malice. "Lin Feng, you're the one who ruined my plan and stole everything that should have been mine. I will definitely make you pay, the finale of destruction." Bai Ningbing drove back to the company. Her whole body felt as if its soul had been drained. She sat in her office, staring at the wedding photo of her and Lin Feng on her desk. This was the only photo she kept in her office. Lin Feng in the photo had a gentle smile. His eyes were full of her, but thinking back now, that smile held so much that she had never paid attention to. "President Bai." The secretary knocked and entered. "Director Chen wants to see you." Bai Ningbing rubbed her temples. "Let him in." Chen Hao pushed the door open and walked in, a complicated look on his face. "President Bai, about those 6 formulas. I know what you want to say." Bai Ningbing interrupted him. "Lin Feng is just angry right now. Once he cools down, I will talk to him." Chen Hao was silent for a moment, then sighed. "President Bai, there's something I've kept to myself for a long time, and I must say it today." Bai Ningbing frowned. "What do you want to say? Do you know how much Mr. Lin has contributed to the Bai Corporation over the years?" Chen Hao looked straight at her. "Besides those 6 flagship products, there are 17 other backup formulas, all provided by Mr. Lin for free. He never asked for anything in return, only because you are his wife." Bai Ningbing was stunned. 17? Weren't there only 6? Chen Hao smiled bitterly. "Those 11 other formulas," Mr. Lin said, to wait until the company was stable before gradually releasing them. He was afraid that releasing too many at once would put too much pressure on you. He always said, "As long as Ningbing is happy, nothing else matters." Bai Ningbing's heart felt like it had been hit by something heavy. She remembered Lin Feng waking up early every day to make her breakfast, remembered him quietly bringing her late-night snacks when she worked overtime, remembered him staying up all night to take care of her when she was sick. She had once taken these moments for granted, but now they were like knives stabbing her heart. There's one more thing. Chen Hao hesitated for a moment. 3 years ago, when you injured your ankle, the wound was actually very severe and would have left a scar. To formulate that skin cream, Mr. Lin stayed up for 7 consecutive nights and tested it hundreds of times. He said you love beauty and couldn't let you have any flaws on your body. Bai Ningbing's eyes turned red. She recalled the moment Lin Feng handed her that box of ointment, only saying gently, "Try this." And what about her? At that time, she was busy welcoming Fang Yuan, who had just returned, and casually tossed the ointment into her bag. "Director Chen, please leave first." Bai Ningbing's voice trembled. Chen Hao walked to the door, then turned his head and said, "President Bai, Mr. Lin is a good person. It's just that good people aren't always cherished." The door closed. Bai Ningbing's tears finally fell. She picked up her phone, wanting to call Lin Feng, but her finger hovered over the screen, unable to press down. What should she say? Sorry? But what good would sorry do? Just then, the phone suddenly rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello? Bai Ningbing, is that President Bai? This is Yin Haodong from the Yin Corporation." Bai Ningbing suddenly sat up straight. "President Yin?" Yin Haodong's cold voice came from the other end of the line. "President Bai, I am officially informing you, the Yin Corporation will terminate all cooperation negotiations with the Bai Corporation. Furthermore, I have notified all pharmaceutical companies in Nan Province that whoever dares to cooperate with the Bai Corporation will be making an enemy of the Yin family." Bai Ningbing turned pale. "President Yin, why? Is it because of what happened today?" "I can explain. There's no need to explain." Yin Haodong cut her off. "Mr. Lin is the benefactor of our Yin family. Your Bai Corporation stole his achievements and even condoned that Fang fellow deceiving the world to steal his reputation. That is a slap in the face to our Yin family. You're on your own." The call was disconnected. Bai Ningbing gripped her phone tightly, her whole body feeling as if it had fallen into an ice cellar. She suddenly remembered something and frantically scrolled through her contacts. She called several CEOs of her long-term partner pharmaceutical companies. "CEO Li, about our new drug collaboration project." "Ah, President Bai, I'm sorry, the project has been suspended." "CEO Wang, regarding the supply contract for the second half of the year." "President Bai, let's talk about the contract later. I'm a bit busy on my end." "CEO Zhang, you previously mentioned wanting to invest in our new product." "Ningbing, it's not that I don't want to help you, but there's really nothing I can do. The Yin family has given the order. Whoever dares to cooperate with you is picking a fight with the Yin family. You know the Yin family's influence in the medical and pharmaceutical world. I don't dare to offend them." More than 10 consecutive phone calls, all met with polite rejections and excuses. Bai Ningbing collapsed into her chair, the phone slipping from her hand. She finally realized Lin Feng wasn't joking. He really wanted to take everything back. And the source of all this was her, Fang Yuan's fangs. Fang Yuan returned to his residence and smashed everything he could in the room. "Lin Feng, you useless piece of trash! On what grounds? On what grounds?" he roared madly. His eyes behind his glasses were bloodshot. Everything that happened today, having to kneel and apologize in front of so many reporters, his reputation, his future, all of it was ruined. After venting his anger, he collapsed amidst the wreckage and took out his phone to check today's news. As expected, the news overseas genius Fang Yuan steals achievements, kneels to apologize, had hit the top of the search rankings. The comments were all curses. Some people even said they would expose his entire academic background. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth, his finger swiping across the screen. Suddenly, he saw a comment. "Who on earth is this Lin Feng? How could he make the Yin family protect him so much?" Someone replied below, "I heard he's Bai Ningbing's husband, and he has always kept a very low profile." Fang Yuan narrowed his eyes. "That's right. Who on earth is Lin Feng? A useless freeloader living off his wife. On what grounds could he make the head of the Yin family personally show up?" Today at the hotel, Yin Haodong's attitude towards Lin Feng was indeed more respectful than towards his own father. There's definitely something more to this. Fang Yuan calmed down and began to recall everything that happened today. Yin Haodong called Lin Feng Mr. Lin and said Mr. Lin was the Yin family's benefactor. What kind of favor could make the Yin family value him so much? He opened his computer and started searching for the name Lin Feng, but the search results were all unrelated information. He then searched for Lin Hao. Bai Ningbing had mentioned once before that Lin Feng used to have that name and changed it later. This time he found something, an old news article from 4 years ago. The Qilin son of the capital's Lin family, Lin Hao, whose medical skills are unrivaled, once saved old Master Jiang, who had been given a death sentence by the imperial physicians. Fang Yuan's hands began to tremble. He continued to dig deeper, becoming more terrified the more he found. The Lin family, a top-tier prestigious family in the capital, is more than just one level above the Yin family. And Lin Hao was the most outstanding descendant of the Lin family's third generation, known as the Qilin son, but he suddenly disappeared 5 years ago. 5 years ago, wasn't that exactly when Lin Feng came to Tanjiang? Fang Yuan leaned back in his chair, his back drenched in a cold sweat. He thought he was dealing with a useless freeloader, but he never expected the other party to be a hidden giant dragon. But soon, the fear in his eyes turned into madness. So what if he's Lin Hao? This is Tanjiang, not the capital. Fang Yuan muttered, "You dared to make me kneel in front of everyone. I will make you pay." He picked up his phone and dialed a number. "Hello, help me investigate someone. Lin Feng, also known as Lin Hao. I want to know every detail about him, especially about him and Bai Ningbing." Hanging up the phone, Fang Yuan had a cold smile on his face. "Lin Feng, you think it's all over just like that? The game has just begun." Lin Feng's new life. Villa Nome 3, Tanjiang Garden. This was the temporary residence that Yin Changming gave to Lin Feng, 500 square meters, with a private garden and a swimming pool, luxuriously decorated but not ostentatious, exuding a sense of discreet elegance everywhere. Lin Feng sat on the second-floor balcony, holding a cup of tea, gazing at the distant river view. It's been 5 years, this is the first time he's been this peaceful, to admire the scenery of this city. The phone rang. It was his mother calling. "Xiaofeng, Mom has heard about what happened today." On the other end of the line, his mother's voice was filled with heartache. "Are you okay?" He smiled. "Mom, I'm fine. In all these years, this is the first time I've felt so relieved." "That's good then." His mother paused for a moment. "There's news from the Tang family. Old Master Tang's illness has worsened. They want to invite you back to take a look. What your father means is, whether you agree to the marriage or not, you should treat the old master first. After all, our two families have been friends for generations." Lin Feng was silent for a moment. "Mom, let me think about it, okay?" "Oh, right, the young lady from the Tang family is also in Tanjiang. I heard she's working on some project. If you want to meet her, I can arrange it." Lin Feng frowned slightly. "The young lady of the Tang family? She's already in Tanjiang?" "Yes, her name is Tang Yue. She's 3 years younger than you. You even held her when you were a child. Do you remember?" Lin Feng tried to recall, and only remembered a little girl with pigtails who always liked to follow him, calling brother Lin Feng. "Mom, now isn't a suitable time to meet. Let's talk about it after I've handled things here." "All right then, take care of yourself. Call Mom if you need anything." Hanging up the phone, he stared at his phone in a daze. The name Tang Yue, he had heard it many times. The recognized little princess of the capital's high society, the precious pearl in old Master Tang's hand. It's said that her suitors could line up from the capital to Tanjiang, but she hasn't taken a liking to any of them. Now she is also in Tanjiang. He shook his head, pushing the thought out of his mind. These things aren't important. What's important is to handle the divorce with Bai Ningbing first. He picked up the divorce agreement from the coffee table and flipped to the last page. Bai Ningbing's signature was still there, hastily scrawled. It was clear she hadn't read the contents at the time. He smiled bitterly. 3 years of marriage, in exchange for just a messy signature like this. At this moment, the doorbell rang. He went downstairs to open the door and saw a young woman standing outside the door in a business suit with a delicate face and a professional demeanor. "Mr. Lin, hello? I am the personal assistant Xiao Zhou sent by President Yin. President Yin said it's inconvenient for you to live alone, so he told me to come and take care of your daily needs." The girl bowed slightly. I frowned. "That's not necessary. I can manage on my own. Mr. Lin, this is my job. If you don't use me, President Yin will fire me." Xiao Chu looked at me pitifully. I sighed helplessly. "Come in." After Xiao Chu entered the house, she quickly started cleaning the room. I returned to the balcony to continue drinking tea. Not long after, Xiao Chu came over with a plate of sliced fruit. "Mr. Lin, have some fruit. What do you want for dinner? I'll make it for you." Lin Feng looked at her and suddenly thought of that woman, Bai Ningbing. She never took care of me like this. Every time I finished cooking, she would just say one thing, just leave it there and then continue with her own business. "Just make whatever," I said. Xiao Chu nodded and suddenly remembered something. "Oh right, Mr. Lin, someone sent a package just now. It was left at the door. Let me bring it up for you." "A package?" I frowned. "Bring it up and let's see." It was an ordinary express box with no sender information. I opened it. Inside was an envelope containing a few photos. The photos were of Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan, strolling on the beach, on a date at a restaurant, returning home late at night together. The dates ranged from 3 years ago to recently. On the back of the photo, a line was written, "Lin Feng, you think you've won? Bai Ningbing's heart was never yours." I looked at the photos with no expression on my face. Xiao Chu peeked at them and timidly asked, "Mr. Lin, this?" I put the photos back in the envelope. "It's just trash." I threw the envelope into the trash can and continued drinking my tea. Did Fang Yuan think these photos could provoke me? How naive. From the moment I decided to divorce, everything about Bai Ningbing and Fang Yuan had nothing to do with me anymore. Bai Ningbing's struggle. Bai Ningbing didn't sleep all night. She made countless phone calls, sent countless messages, but I didn't answer a single one. She once came to the villa to find me, but the security guard told her that Mr. Lin had already moved out and they didn't know where he went. Despair engulfed her like a tide. 7 a.m. phone rang. It was the company's CFO calling. "President Bai, this is bad. 3 banks called at the same time saying they want to recall their loans early." and 5 suppliers said they would stop supplying goods starting today unless we pay off all our previous debts. Bai Ningbing's mind went blank with a buzz. How could this happen? Our credit has always been very good. I already asked. They said it's because the Yin family has spoken. The Yin family, it's the Yin family again. Bai Ningbing took a deep breath. I understand. Immediately summon all senior managers for an emergency meeting. An hour later, the atmosphere in the meeting room was heavy. President Bai, the most serious problem right now is cash flow. The CFO pointed to the data on the screen. If we don't get a new injection of capital, we won't last more than a month. The marketing director sighed. What's more troublesome is, the entire pharmaceutical industry is now buzzing with rumors about us stealing research results. The brand image has been severely damaged, and several major clients have suspended cooperation. Chen Hao, the head of R&D, remained silent, just looking down at the tabletop. Bai Ningbing looked at him. Director Chen, is there really no way to salvage those 6 formulas? Chen Hao looked up, his expression complex. President Bai, those formulas are Mr. Lin's personal achievements. Legally, he has the right to revoke them. Besides what? Moreover, from what I know, Mr. Lin has even better formulas in his possession. If he decides to cooperate with another company, it would be a devastating blow to us. The meeting room fell into a deathly silence. Bai Ningbing clenched her fists, her nails digging into her flesh. Meeting adjourned. You'll think of something else. After everyone had left, she took out her phone and once again called Lin Feng's number. This time it went through. Hello? My indifferent voice came from the other end of the line. Bai Ningbing's heart nearly stopped. Lin Feng, it's me. Can we talk for a bit? Talk about what? About us, about the divorce agreement, and also about the company. Bai Ningbing said carefully, Where are you? Ill. Come find you. The other end was silent for a few seconds. Then I read out an address. Villa number 3, Tanjiang Garden. Bai Ningbing was stunned for a moment. Tanjiang Garden? That's the most high-end villa complex in Tanjiang, one you can't necessarily buy even with money. How could Lin Feng be there? But she didn't have time to think too much. She grabbed her handbag and rushed out the door. 40 minutes later, Bai Ningbing stood in front of Villa number 3, took a deep breath, and rang the doorbell. The person who opened the door was a beautiful young woman, wearing home pajamas, looking like she had just woken up. Hello, may I ask who you are looking for? The girl asked. Bai Ningbing froze. I'm looking for Lin Feng. You must be President Bai, right? Please come in. The girl stepped aside to let her pass. I'm Xiao Chu, Mr. Lin's personal assistant. Mr. Lin is waiting for you on the second-floor balcony. A personal assistant? In Bai Ningbing's heart, an indescribable bitterness welled up. She followed Xiao Chu upstairs and saw Lin Feng sitting on the balcony, with his back to her, admiring the river view. Lin Feng, she called out softly. I turned my head, my gaze as calm as if looking at a stranger. Have a seat. Bai Ningbing sat down opposite me, at a loss for words for a moment. In the end, I was the one who spoke first. What do you want to see me about? Bai Ningbing bit her lip. Lin Feng, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have let Fang Yuan take credit for your achievements. I shouldn't have. Shouldn't have been so indifferent to your contributions all these years. Can you give me another chance? Lin Feng looked at her and suddenly laughed. Bai Ningbing, do you even know where you went wrong? Bai Ningbing was stunned. You think you were wrong for letting Fang Yuan replace me? Lin Feng shook his head. You were wrong because you never once saw me as your husband. 3 years of marriage, Fang Yuan was the only one in your heart. When he returned, you could stay out all night. When he needed an opportunity, you could offer him my achievements. And what about me? I was just a substitute for you to fill the void. That's not it, Bai Ningbing hurriedly tried to explain. My feelings for Fang Yuan were just to make up for past regrets. I really never thought about divorcing you. Regrets? Lin Feng laughed coldly. Then have you ever considered, every time you went on a date with him, how I felt? Every time you posted a picture of you two on your social media and said it so I couldn't see it? How did I feel? Bai Ningbing? What did you take my sincere feelings for? Bai Ningbing was speechless. You've already signed the divorce agreement. It will take effect in a month. I stood up. During this month, you should handle the company's affairs properly. As for those 6 formulas, I won't sue you for copyright infringement, but you can no longer use them. Lin Feng Bai Ningbing suddenly stood up. Do you really have to be so heartless? 3 years as husband and wife, is there not even a little affection left? Lin Feng turned around and looked into her eyes. Affection? When you were dating Fang Yuan, did you ever think about the affection between us? When you let him replace me on stage, did you ever think about the affection between us? Bai Ningbing opened her mouth, but no sound came out. That's enough. You should go. I waved my hand dismissively. Xiao Chu, see our guest out. Xiao Chu came over and said politely but distantly, President Bai, this way please. Bai Ningbing stood rooted to the spot, looking at my back, tears finally streaming down her face. She suddenly understood. She had truly lost me. 5. Fang Yuan's madness. These days, Fang Yuan was living like a stray dog. His academic background was completely exposed by netizens. The so-called prestigious overseas university was actually just a diploma mill. The so-called outstanding student was nothing more than a degree bought with money. The media outlets that once praised him now turned around to trample on him. The colleagues who were once polite to him now avoided him whenever they saw him. What was even more terrifying was, the Yin family continued to apply pressure. He had sent out more than 10 resumes, but not a single company dared to hire him. He went to a bar to drink, was recognized, and was almost beaten up. All of this was caused by Lin Feng. Fang Yuan sat in his dark rented room staring at Lin Hao's information on the computer screen, his eyes filled with insane hatred. Lin Hao, the Qilin son of the Lin family, he muttered. You ruined my reputation. I'll make you taste this too. He began to plan a crazy revenge. What does Lin Feng care about the most? Bai Ningbing? No. Judging from his attitude at the hotel that day, Lin Feng no longer cared about Bai Ningbing. So what does he care about? Reputation? Status? Or? Fang Yuan suddenly remembered someone. Tong Yue, the little princess of the capital, Lin Feng's arranged marriage partner. He had investigated Tong Yue's information and knew she was also in Tanjiang, working on a medical investment project. If I could make Tong Yue misunderstand Lin Feng, if I could prevent Lin Feng from marrying her, a cold smile appeared on Fang Yuan's face. He began to act. First, he anonymously sent an email to Tong Yue's inbox, attaching the wedding photos of Bai Ningbing and Lin Feng, along with stories of how Lin Feng had always been obedient to Bai Ningbing over the years. The email read, Miss Tang, do you know what kind of man your family has arranged for you as a fiancé? He is a lovesick fool who was abandoned by Bai Ningbing. During their 3-year marriage, he was always subservient to that woman. A man like that? Do you really want him? Next, he leaked information to a few tabloids saying that Lin Feng was actually a live-in son-in-law of the Bai family, a useless freeloader who lived off his wife and was now kicked out of the house, trying to latch on to the Tang family. Finally, he contacted a few thugs, telling them to go to the villa complex where Lin Feng lived to cause trouble, preferably to get a video of Lin Feng hitting someone. The Qilin son of the Lin family beating someone up in public, isn't that news shocking enough? After doing all this, Fang Yuan leaned back in his chair, a crazed smile on his face. Lin Feng, I want to see how you'll turn things around this time, Tang Yue. 58th floor, Tanjiang International Finance Center. Tang Yue stood before the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the email on her phone, her delicate eyebrows slightly furrowed. She was 24 years old this year, with a tall figure and a face so exquisite it looked like a painting. Her long black hair was draped over her shoulders, wearing a simple white shirt and black wide-leg pants, yet she exuded an aura that made it impossible for people to look away. The little princess of the capital was not an empty title. Yue, what are you looking at? The voice of her best friend, Lin Keiki, came from behind. Tang Yue handed her the phone. Someone sent me something interesting. Lin Keiki took the phone. After reading it, her eyes widened. Oh my, is this your fiancé? Isn't he the Qilin son of the Lin family? How did he become such a lovesick fool? Tang Yue chuckled softly. Lin Hao now goes by the name Lin Feng. He suddenly disappeared 5 years ago. It turns out he ran off to Tanjiang to experience life. Aren't you angry? Lin Keiki asked in surprise. Look, this email says how good he was to that woman, waking up early to cook, staying up all night to care for her, and even writing prescriptions for her company. And for what? She didn't have him in her heart at all. He was just a replacement. Tang Yue turned and sat down on the sofa. She picked up a teacup and took a sip. What about it? I actually quite admire him. Admire him? Lin Keiki was stunned. Think about it. He's the Qilin son of the Lin family, born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Yet for a woman he liked, he was willing to lower himself to do all those trivial things for 5 years straight. A hint of admiration flashed in Tang Yue's eyes. A man like that is much better than those rich kids who only know how to brag. Lin Keiki blinked. So you don't mind that he was married? Tang Yue smiled. So what if he was married? Isn't he getting divorced now? Besides, for someone I, Tang Yue, have set my sights on, do I care who he loved before? Lin Keiki gave her a thumbs up. Amazing, that's my sister Wei. Tang Yue put down her teacup. She picked up her phone. Help me find where he is. I want to see him. Now? Lin Keiki's eyes widened. Right now? Tang Yue stood up. She picked up her coat. I have to see for myself. What kind of woman could make the Lin family's Qilin son willingly act like a lovesick fool for 5 years? What she is really like. An hour later, Tang Yue's car stopped in front of the Tanjiang Garden Villas. She rang the doorbell of Villa number 3. The one who opened the door was still Xiao Zhou. Hello, excuse me, is Mr. Lin home? Tang Yue asked politely. Xiao Zhou sized her up. A flicker of surprise appeared in her eyes. You are? My name is Tang Yue. I'm his fiancé. Tang Yue smiled. She used that word intentionally. Xiao Zhou was stunned. Then she quickly stepped aside. Please come in, Miss Tang. I'll go get Mr. Lin. Tang Yue walked into the living room. She took in the decor, simple, yet not ordinary. There was a sense of refinement everywhere. It seems that even while living incognito in Tanjiang, this Lin Feng didn't treat himself poorly. Soon, the sound of footsteps came from the stairs. Lin Feng came down. The moment he saw Tang Yue, I was a little stunned. The woman before me was completely different from the little girl, with pigtails in my memory. She stood there. Although she was just standing casually, she had an aura that was impossible to ignore. "Brother Lin Feng, long time no see." Tang Yue greeted with a smile. This form of address made Lin Feng feel a bit dazed. It was as if he had returned to 20 years ago. "Please have a seat, Miss Tang." I came back to my senses. I made a welcoming gesture. The two of them sat down on the sofa. Xiao Zhou brought tea, then tactfully retreated to the side. Tang Yue sized up Lin Feng. He looked even better than in the photo. How should I put it? Cleaner. Not the cleanliness of a neat freak, but a clarity in his eyes. It was as if he had been through so much, yet still retained a certain purity. "Received the email?" Lin Feng spoke first. Tang Yue raised an eyebrow. "You know, you guessed?" Lin Feng picked up his teacup. A person like Fang Yuan, his methods of revenge are always the same few tricks. "Fang Yuan is that international student you slapped in public?" Tang Yue smiled. "It seems he hasn't given up yet." Lin Feng said nothing. Tang Yue looked at him. She suddenly asked, "Are the things in the email true? Are they true? Did you really act like a lovesick fool for that woman for 5 years?" Lin Feng frowned slightly, but he wasn't angry. "That's my business. I know it's your business." Tang Yue leaned back on the sofa. "But I need to know what kind of person my future husband really is." Lin Feng looked at her. His expression was a bit complicated. "Miss Tang, we aren't married yet. You don't have to be in such a hurry. It's going to happen sooner or later." Tang Yue interrupted me. "My grandfather is on his deathbed. His greatest wish is to see me get married. Your parents also want us to be together, and you've already agreed yourself, haven't you?" Lin Feng was silent. Tang Yue continued. "I came to find you, not to condemn you, and not to hear your explanation. I just wanted to see with my own eyes the man I'm about to marry is worthy." Lin Feng looked at her. Suddenly, he smiled. "So, what do you think?" Tang Yue looked at me seriously. After a long moment, she said, "Worthy." This time, it was Lin Feng's turn to be stunned. "You, for someone who didn't love you, could sacrifice 5 years. So if one day you love me, you'll treat me even better, right?" Tang Yue blinked. "This deal isn't a loss." Lin Feng scoffed. "You're certainly open-minded. Of course. Should I cry and complain that you're not worthy of me?" Tang Yue shrugged. "I'm not stupid. The Qilin son of the Lin family, unparalleled medical skills, not bad-looking, and a good personality. A man like that is hard to find even with a lantern. As for who you loved before, that's in the past. What does it have to do with me?" Lin Feng looked at her. He suddenly found this girl very interesting. "So, how do you plan to deal with Fang Yuan?" Tang Yue asked. Lin Feng thought for a moment. "Let's just let him fend for himself. His reputation is already ruined. He can't cause any more trouble. You're too kind." Tang Yue shook her head. "With people like him, if you don't completely crush him, he'll find a way to take a bite out of you." Lin Feng looked at her. "Do you have a way?" Tang Yue smiled, a smile like a little fox. "Just leave it to me. Consider it a first meeting gift for my future husband." 3 days after his ruin. Fang Yuan had completely collapsed. All his bank cards were frozen. The reason was suspicion of financial fraud. The house he rented was repossessed by the landlord because someone reported him for illegal activities. He walked down the street. People were always pointing at him. Some even threw rotten eggs at him. The scariest thing was he discovered he was being followed. No matter where he went, there were always a few men in black standing not far away, staring at him. They didn't get close, nor did they make a move. They just stared. Fang Yuan finally couldn't take it anymore. He called Yin Haodong. "Xiao Yin, I beg you, please let me go. I was wrong. I was really wrong," he said nearly in tears. On the other end of the line, Yin Haodong laughed coldly. "Fang Yuan, did you get the wrong person? I don't have the time to deal with you." Fang Yuan was stunned. "Then who is it? Don't you have any idea who you've offended?" After Yin Haodong spoke, he hung up the phone directly. Fang Yuan collapsed to the ground. His mind was blank. Suddenly, he remembered the email he had sent to Tang Yue. Could it be? Just then, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello? Is this Fang Yuan?" A lazy female voice came from the other end. "This is Tang Yue. I've received your email. Thank you for the reminder." Fang Yuan's whole body trembled. Miss Tang, I've investigated your background. It's quite interesting. A third-rate university degree, fake overseas study experience, and a few unresolved economic disputes." Tang Yui's voice even sounded a little cheerful. "All of this, I've already sent it to the police. If nothing unexpected happens, you'll soon get a taste of prison food. Miss Tang, I beg you, I really didn't mean it. I was just what? Just trying to ruin my fiancé's reputation?" Tang Yue laughed. "Fang Yuan, do you know what kind of person I hate the most? It's the kind of person who has no ability themselves but always wants to drag others down with them. Don't worry, he'll take good care of you. The call was cut off. Fang Yuan's phone slipped from his hand. He felt as if all the strength had been drained from his body. The next day, the police officially arrested Fang Yuan on charges of fraud. The news spread. There was widespread cheering online. The people who once praised him now all cursed him, saying he got what he deserved. When Bai Ningbing saw the news, she was at the company handling the final affairs. She was stunned for a long time. Then she gave a bitter smile. Fang Yuan was finished. And the person who caused all this was Lin Feng, the person she used to despise the most. No, it wasn't Lin Feng, but Tang Yue. She had looked up information about Tang Yue, the little princess of the capital's high society, the only beloved daughter of the Tong family. Only a woman like that was worthy of Lin Feng. As for her, Bai Ningbing, she was nothing. A month after the settlement, the divorce cooling-off period ended. Lin Feng and Bai Ningbing met in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau to complete the final procedures. Bai Ningbing had lost a lot of weight. Her face was pale, there were dark circles under her eyes. This past month, she had lived through the biggest nightmare of her life. The company went bankrupt, friends abandoned her, parents were disappointed. The once illustrious CEO of the Bai Group had now become a laughingstock everyone avoided. Lin Feng looked at her. His gaze was calm. No pity, no gloating either. Sign it. The staff handed them the divorce certificate. They each signed their names, took that little red booklet. Walking out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Bai Ningbing suddenly called out to me. Lin Feng stopped, without turning back. I'm sorry, Bai Ningbing's voice trembled. I know it's useless to say this now, but I still want to say, I'm sorry. I was blind all these years. Lin Feng was silent for a few seconds, then said, Live well. You'll have to walk your own path from now on. After saying that, I turned and left without looking back. Bai Ningbing stood rooted to the spot, watching my back disappear into the crowd. From now on, she had no relationship with this person. I returned to the car. Tang Yue was waiting for me in the driver's seat. Is it done? She asked. I nodded. Tang Yue looked at me. She didn't ask anything else. She started the car. My mom said we're going home for dinner tonight. She said your parents will be there too. I looked at her and suddenly smiled. Meeting the parents so soon? Tang Yue shot me a glare. What do you mean, meeting the parents? It's just our two families getting together. Oh, right. My grandpa heard you agreed to treat him, and he was so happy he nearly jumped out of bed. I was silent for a moment. I will do my best. Tang Yue nodded, then said, Lin Feng, I know you might still have that woman in your heart. I don't mind. After all, 5 years of feelings can't be forgotten just like that. But I want to tell you, from now on, you are my man. I will treat you well, 10,000 times better than she ever did. I looked at her serious face. A warm current surged through my heart. Okay, I said. 3 months later, in Jingcheng, the illness of the Tang family's old master under my treatment had miraculously taken a turn for the better. This news spread throughout Jingcheng's high society. The reputation of the Lin family's Qilinzi once again resounded everywhere. Those who had once mocked me coldly, now all changed their tune, vying to flatter me. The so-called friends who once avoided me were now lining up to invite me to dinner. I paid them no mind. That evening, the Tang family held a family banquet. They officially announced the wedding date for me and Tang Yue. After the banquet ended, we stood side by side in the Tang family's back garden, gazing at the stars in the night sky. What are you thinking about? Tang Yue asked. I shook my head. Nothing. It just feels a bit unreal. Unreal? Tang Yue raised an eyebrow. Are you saying that marrying a great beauty like me is unreal? I laughed. I'm saying that the past 5 years feel like a dream. Tang Yue was silent for a moment. Then she leaned on my shoulder. Then just treat it as a dream. Now that you've woken up, a new life has begun. I nodded. I reached out and put my arm around her shoulder. From a distance came the laughter and blessings of the Tang family. At that moment, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment, but I still answered it. Hello? The other end was silent for a few seconds. Then a hoarse female voice spoke. Lin Feng, it's me, Bai Ningbing. I frowned slightly. What is it? I know I shouldn't bother you anymore. But... Bai Ningbing's voice was choked with emotion. My father is sick, very sick. The hospitals in Tanjiang can't do anything. I really have no other choice. I can only beg you to save him. I was silent. Tang Yue looked at me. She gently squeezed my hand. Lin Feng, I know I have no right to ask you for anything, but my father, he never treated you poorly. Can you save him for his sake? Bai Ningbing's voice was full of pleading. I took a deep breath. Which hospital is he in? At Tanjiang's First People's Hospital. The doctor said he needs surgery, but the risk is too high. No one dares to perform it. I'll be there tomorrow, I said, then hung up the phone. Tang Yue looked at me. She didn't say anything. I turned my head and met her gaze. What do you want to say? Tang Yue smiled. I've already said it. Your affairs are for you to decide. But Lin Feng, you have to think carefully. Will this trip get you entangled again? I shook my head. No, I'm just repaying a debt of gratitude to him. Back then in Tanjiang, he didn't treat me badly. That's good then. Tang Yue nodded. He'll go with you. I looked at her, and suddenly smiled. Aren't you afraid my old flame will be rekindled? Tang Yue glared. What's there to be afraid of? If you were that kind of person, you wouldn't be worthy of my attention. 10. The end. The next day, Tang Yue and I flew to Tanjiang. On the plane, I looked at the clouds outside the window. My thoughts were a mess. I thought I would never come to this city again. I didn't expect to return so soon. Tang Yue was reading a magazine beside me. Occasionally she would look up at me, but she didn't say anything. We arrived in Tanjiang. We went straight to the hospital, in front of the hospital room. Bai Ningbing was waiting anxiously. The moment she saw me, she was stunned. Not because of me, but because of Tang Yue beside me. She was a woman so beautiful, it made others feel inadequate. Her noble aura, her clear eyes, she had her arm linked with mine. Her expression was intimate. Bai Ningbing's heart felt like it was being pricked by a needle. Lin Feng, thank you for coming, she said with difficulty. I nodded. Take me to see the patient. Bai Ningbing led us into the hospital room. On the hospital bed, Bai Fu's face was pale. He was hooked up to all sorts of tubes. Seeing me, his eyes lit up a little. He wanted to say something but couldn't. I walked to the bedside. I took his pulse. Then I looked at his medical records. Surgery is needed. I said, the tumor is in a special location. A normal doctor wouldn't dare to touch it. I can do it. But there are risks. Bai Ningbing asked worriedly. What kind of risks? The biggest risk is that after the surgery, he might not be able to walk anymore. I looked at her. You have to make this decision. Bai Ningbing was stunned. She looked at her father on the bed. Tears streamed down her face. Dad, she choked out, unable to speak. Father Bai raised his hand with difficulty. He took her hand, then he nodded at me. I understood his meaning. All right, I will do my best. The surgery was scheduled for the next morning. I went into the operating room. Tang Yue waited outside. Bai Ningbing was also there. The two of them sat at opposite ends of the hallway. There was no communication between them. 5 hours later, the door to the operating room opened. I walked out. I took off my mask. The surgery was a success. We managed to save his legs too. Bai Ningbing was stunned for a second. Then she fell to her knees with a thud. Lin Feng, thank you. I reached out to help her up. There's no need for this. I was just repaying my debt to him. Bai Ningbing looked up at me. Then she looked at Tang Yue behind me. She said with a bitter smile, she is very good. She's worthy of you. I said nothing. Tang Yue walked over and linked her arm with mine. Let's go. Let's go home. We turned and left, leaving Bai Ningbing standing alone in the hallway, watching our receding figures. At that moment, she finally understood. Some people, once you let them go, it's for a lifetime. 1 month later. Jingcheng. My wedding with Tang Yue was held at the old Lin family residence. It wasn't a large-scale event, but all the prominent figures in Jingcheng attended. At the altar, as I looked at Tang Yue in her wedding dress, I suddenly remembered myself from 5 years ago, when I first arrived in Tanjiang. Back then, I mistakenly believed that love could conquer all. Now I know, love isn't about conquering, it's about choice. Choosing the right person, choosing the right life. What are you thinking about? Tang Yue asked softly. I smiled. Thinking about how to treat you well from now on. Tang Yue raised an eyebrow. Is that something you even need to think about? Of course, you have to treat me so well that it couldn't possibly be any better. We looked at each other and smiled. After the wedding ended, the guests dispersed, and we sat in the courtyard of the old residence, watching the brilliant fireworks in the sky. Lin Feng Tang Yue suddenly called out to me. Will you have any regrets? I looked at her and said seriously, I've made many decisions in my life, but marrying you is something I will never regret. Tang Yue smiled, laughing like a little girl. From a distance, the sound of fireworks echoed, illuminating the night sky like our bright future. Meanwhile, in Tanjiang, 1,000 miles away, Bai Ningbing stood before the gates of her bankrupt company, looking at the empty office, her face devoid of any expression. She finally understood. Some people don't not love, they just love too late. She finally understood. Some things aren't impossible to save, but that she had no right to save them at all. She finally understood the man who once spoiled her to the heavens would never come back. As night fell, she turned and walked away, her figure lonely and desolate. And in the courtyard in Jingcheng, I held Tang Yue's hand, gazing at the stars in the night sky, feeling for the first time that life could be this beautiful. Some hearts are cold and can never be warmed, while other hearts just need to meet the right person and they will be forever warm. The old Lin family residence in Jingcheng. On the morning of the 3rd day after the wedding, I woke up very early. The sound of birds chirping came from outside the window. Sunlight streamed through the carved window frame, scattering into the room, creating mottled patches of light on the floor. I tilted my head and looked at Tang Yue still sleeping soundly beside me, a smile unknowingly forming on my lips. The way this woman slept was completely different from when she was awake. An awake Tang Yue was sharp and capable, with a powerful aura, the little princess of Jingcheng's social circle whom people both respected and feared. But when she slept, she would curl up like a child lacking a sense of security. Her long eyelashes would tremble slightly, and she would occasionally mumble a few indistinct words. I gently tucked her in and got out of bed. I went to the window and pushed it open. The cool morning air rushed in, carrying the fragrance of the osmanthus tree in the courtyard. An October morning in Jingcheng already carried a hint of autumn's breath. The phone suddenly vibrated. I picked it up and looked. It was an unknown number, from Tanjiang. I frowned slightly, hesitated for a moment, but still answered the call. Hello? The other end was silent for a few seconds. Then a tired, old voice came through. Hello, Mr. Lin. This is Yin Changming. I was a little stunned. Old Master Yin, why are you calling so early? Is something wrong? Yin Changming sighed. Mr. Lin, this old man really hates to disturb your newlywed happiness, but something happened to little Hexue. My gaze hardened. What happened to Miss Yin? Yesterday afternoon, Hexue went out shopping and was hit by a car. Yin Changming's voice was hoarse, filled with unconcealable pain. She's still in the intensive care unit right now, the doctor said. The doctor said the situation doesn't look good. Haodong and Yuelan have already fainted from crying several times. This old man really has no other choice but to shamelessly beg you for help. Lin Feng was silent for a few seconds. Is it serious? Very serious. 3 broken ribs, a ruptured spleen, and intracranial bleeding. Yin Changming's voice began to tremble. The best experts in Tanjiang have all examined her, and they told us to prepare for the worst. Mr. Lin, I'm begging you to save Hexue. She's only 22, she's not married yet, not. The old man's words trailed off into choked sobs. Lin Feng took a deep breath. Old Master Yin, don't worry. We'll book a flight right away. We'll be there today. Really? Yin Changming's voice was full of surprise and disbelief. Mr. Lin, you're really willing to come? I already promised you, when it comes to the Yin family's matters, I won't stand by and do nothing. Send me the hospital address and Hexue's medical records. I'll look them over on the way. After hanging up the phone, I turned around and found that Tang Yue was already awake. She was leaning against the headboard looking at me. Do you have to go out? She asked. I nodded. The young lady of the Yin family was in a car accident. The situation is critical. I have to make a trip to Tanjiang. Tang Yue didn't ask like a typical wife would. Do you really have to go, or can't you let someone else go? She just nodded. I'll book the plane ticket for you. I looked at her, and a warm feeling washed over my heart. You're not going to ask me why I absolutely have to go? You have your own reasons for everything you do. Tang Yue threw back the covers and got out of bed, picking up her phone to start booking the ticket. Besides, the Yin family helped you, so it's only right that you help them in return. She paused for a moment, looked up at me, a mischievous glint in her eyes. And anyway, you're my man now. You can't escape me. Just come back soon. I chuckled. I walked over and gently hugged her. I'll be as quick as I can. Tang Yue patted my back gently. Go on, be careful on the road. Oh, and pack some warm clothes. Tanjiang is colder than Jingcheng. An hour later, I was on a flight to Tanjiang. I watched Jingcheng shrink outside the window, a strange feeling welling up inside me. 3 months ago, when I left this city, my heart was filled with only the desire to escape. Now, returning, it was with a different identity. This fate is truly unpredictable. When the plane landed at Tanjiang Airport, it was already 2 p.m. As soon as I walked out of the arrival gate, I saw Yin Haodong standing at the exit. His eyes were bloodshot, his face unshaven, looking as if he had aged 10 years. Mr. Lin Yin Haodong quickly came to greet me. Grabbing my hand, his voice choked with emotion. You came? I really don't know how to thank you. I patted his shoulder. Let's not talk about that for now. Take me to the hospital. In the car, Yin Haodong updated me on the latest situation. Hexue's condition is worse than yesterday. The intracranial bleeding has worsened. She's had 2 surgeries, but the results weren't as expected. The doctor has already tactfully informed us that if things continue like this, they're afraid. I looked at the medical records in my hand and frowned. Xiao Yin, let me ask you something. I suddenly spoke up. Yin Haodong was stunned. Go ahead. Was the car accident really an accident? Yin Haodong's expression changed. You mean, what was Miss Yin doing when she went out that day? Why did the accident happen? Lin Feng's gaze was sharp. Has the driver who caused the accident been caught? Yin Haodong was silent for a few seconds and said slowly, He's been caught. He's an ordinary taxi driver driving while fatigued. The police have already investigated and found nothing unusual. Have you investigated the driver's background? Yes, he's an ordinary person, has been a taxi driver for 20 years, and has no criminal record. Yin Haodong sighed. I also suspected if someone did it intentionally, but all the evidence points to it being an accident. I nodded, saying nothing more. But there was a vague sense of unease in my heart. The Yin family is powerful in Tanjiang, easily attracting attention, and they've offended quite a few people over the years. For Hexway to suddenly have an accident? Was it really just an accident? An hour later, the car stopped in front of Tanjung No. 1 People's Hospital. I followed Yin Haodong into the intensive care unit, and when I saw Yin Hexway on the hospital bed, my heart sank. The girl's face was as pale as paper. Her head was wrapped in bandages, and all kinds of tubes were inserted into her body. The numbers on the monitor blinked very slowly, as if struggling in vain. Her breathing was faint, the rise and fall of her chest almost imperceptible. Hexway Yin Haodong stood by the bed, tears streaming down his face again. Dad is sorry. I didn't protect you well. Lin Yuelan was slumped over the bed, no longer able to cry out loud, just trembling uncontrollably. I walked over and gently took Yin Hexu's pulse. Her pulse was faint, barely there. The situation was indeed critical, but I also noticed that the girl's pulse had a strange sense of sluggishness, as if something was blocking it. I frowned even more deeply. CEO Yin, I need to see all the test reports and surgical records. I stood up. Also, I'll have to ask everyone to step outside for a moment. I want to examine Hexway alone. Yin Haodong was stunned for a moment, then nodded repeatedly. Okay, well I'll go out. After everyone had left, I closed the door and walked to the bedside. I pulled back the blanket, gently unbuttoned Yin Hexu's patient gown, revealing the girl's chest and abdomen. 3 horrifying surgical incisions, surrounded by bruises and swelling. I didn't act hastily, but first closed my eyes, held my breath, and focused my mind, hovering my hand over Yin Hexue's body by a few inches, moving it slowly. This was the Lin family's ancestral mysterious pulse technique, which could sense the flow of qi in a person's body. As my hand moved over Yin Hexue's lower abdomen, it suddenly stopped. There, a faint, cold aura was radiating into my palm. Lin Feng opened his eyes, his gaze turning sharp. I took the flashlight from the bedside table and carefully examined Yin Hexue's pupils. Her pupils reacted slowly to the light, but the reaction speeds of the left and right pupils were different. The right one reacted half a beat slower than the left. This was not a symptom of intracranial bleeding. Lin Feng took a deep breath, drew a silver needle from the kit he carried with him, and after sterilizing it, gently inserted it into the Hig acupoint in the webbing between Yin Hexue's right thumb and index finger. The moment the silver needle went in, Yin Hexue's finger twitched slightly. I stared at the silver needle, holding my breath. A few seconds later, the body of the silver needle began to change color, turning from bright silver to a light gray, then to a dark gray. Finally, a ring of dense black patterns appeared near the tip of the needle. My pupils suddenly constricted. This isn't an ordinary internal injury. It's a goo poison. Moreover, it's the exact same type of goo poison as last time. Someone has planted a goo insect in Yin Hexu's body again. I walked out of the intensive care unit, and the members of the Yin family immediately surrounded me. Mr. Lin, how is she? Yin Changming asked anxiously. I looked around and lowered my voice. This isn't the place to talk. Find a quiet room. Yin Haodong immediately took me to a small conference room in the hospital. After closing the door, my first sentence stunned everyone. Miss Yin wasn't just in a simple accident, she was poisoned with goo by someone. What? Yin Changming shot up from his seat, his face ashen. Goo poison again? I nodded, exactly like last time. Someone planted a goo insect in her body and then staged a car accident. The goo insect activated after the accident, causing her intracranial bleeding to worsen. Yin Haodong clenched his fists so tightly they cracked. Who is it? Who in the world is it? We don't know yet. I shook my head, but it's definitely the same person as last time, or the same group of people. Lin Yuelan covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. But didn't you already remove the goo insect last time? Why is there still one? I was silent for a few seconds, then said slowly, there's only one possibility. The goo insect from last time wasn't the only one. Someone planted 2 goo insects in Hexue's body. One was an overt goo used as a probe, the other was a covert goo hidden much deeper. Last time I only removed the overt one, while the covert one remained dormant. It wasn't activated until this time. The faces of everyone in the Yin family turned pale. Then, Hexue now. Yin Haodong's voice trembled. I can treat her, but it will take time, and it requires an absolutely safe environment. Furthermore, before she is cured, we must first find the person who planted the goo. Otherwise, even if she's cured this time, it will happen again next time. Yin Changming took a deep breath, trying to suppress the anger and fear in his heart. Mr. Lin, tell us what we should do. I pondered for a moment, then said, Hexue must be transferred to another hospital. Move her to the Yin family's private hospital under lockdown with only the most trusted people to care for her. Second, investigate thoroughly who Yin Hexue has been in contact with in the last 3 months, where she has been, and what she has eaten. Third, I paused for a moment, my gaze sharpening. Investigate if the Yin family has offended anyone recently, or if anyone wants to harm the Yin family. Yin Haodong nodded immediately. You'll get on it right away. Wait, I called him back. There's one more thing. The driver who caused the accident, I want to meet him in person. An hour later, I met the driver at the traffic police station. He was a middle-aged man over 50 years old, his face weathered by the elements, his eyes cloudy. You could tell at a glance that he was a taxi driver who often drove late at night. He kept his head down, constantly mumbling, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." I didn't rush to question him, but first observed him carefully for a few minutes. Then I spoke up. "Master, how many years have you been a taxi driver?" The driver looked up, stunned for a moment. 20 years. No accidents in 20 years? No, never. The driver said hastily, "I'm a very steady driver. I've never had a violation." That day I had really stayed up too many nights. I was exhausted beyond belief. I nodded and asked again. "That day, you picked up a fare from the Yin family villa, right?" The driver nodded. "Yes, it was a young lady, quite pretty, wearing a white dress. She was smiling when she got in the car and said she was going to the mall to shop. Did she say anything on the way?" The driver thought for a moment. "She didn't say much, she was just on her phone." "Oh, right, she took a phone call. It seemed to be from her friend, making plans to have dinner that night." My eyes lit up. "A friend? Male or female?" "A female, I think. I heard her call her Lily or something like that." The driver scratched his head. I wasn't paying much attention at the time. I asked for a few more details, then stood up and said to Yin Haodong, who was with me, "All right, let's go." After leaving the traffic police station, Yin Haodong couldn't help but ask, "Mr. Lin, have you discovered anything?" I shook my head. "Not yet. But this driver is indeed just an ordinary person. What he said is definitely true. So the goo worm in Hexu's body must have been activated before the accident." I frowned. When the driver, exhausted, crashed the car, the goo worm activated at the same time. That way, even if someone investigated, they would just think the car accident aggravated her injuries. Yin Haodong took a sharp breath. "Such a vicious method." I nodded. "Therefore, we must quickly find the person who planted the curse. This person is very dangerous." The Lin family's investigation was very efficient. The next afternoon, a detailed report was placed in front of me. The report showed that, in the past 3 months, Yin Hexu's life had been very routine. Besides going to school and coming home, she would occasionally go shopping or have coffee with a few close friends. The 3 people she contacted most frequently were her university classmate Zhou Xiaomeng, her high school best friend Lin Xiu, and her childhood neighbor Li Xinyi. The name Lily most likely belongs to one of these 3. Zhou Xiaomeng's nickname is Meng Meng. Lin Xiu's nickname is Xiao Yu. Only Li Xinyi's nickname is Lily. I opened Li Xinyi's file. Li Xinyi, 23 years old. Yin Hexue's childhood neighbor and best friend. The 2 families are old friends. They grew up together. Her father is Li Jiangguo, a shareholder in the Yin Corporation, holding 8% of the company's shares. Her mother passed away early. Li Jiangguo never remarried, raising his daughter alone. On the surface, nothing seemed wrong, but I noticed one detail. 3 months ago, Li Jiangguo suddenly sold off half of the Yin family shares he owned, earning nearly 200 million. The reason given was that his daughter wanted to study abroad and needed money, and the first time Yin Hexue was cursed with the goo worm was exactly 3 months ago. My gaze sharpened. "Where is this Li Xinyi now?" I asked Yin Haodong. Yin Haodong flipped through the documents. "It seems she hasn't gone abroad yet. Someone said they saw her in Tanjiang recently. Check her entire schedule for the past 3 months. Who she has been in contact with, where she has gone." I added, "Also check her father's accounts. See where that 200 million is now." Yin Haodong got to work immediately. 2 days later, the results were in. Of Li Jiangguo's 200 million, more than half was transferred to an overseas account. The account holder was a man named Chen Guofu. And this Chen Guofu is from the Yin Corporation's biggest competitor, the Chen family of Nam Province. Yin Haodong's face turned pale. The Chen family is an old pharmaceutical family in Nam Province. They have been competing with the Yin family for decades. In recent years, the Yin family has developed rapidly, quietly surpassing the Chen family. The Chen family has always held a grudge. They have pulled many strings, both openly and secretly, to obstruct us. The Chen family, Yin Haodong gritted his teeth. I should have thought of them sooner. I looked at the documents, my brows furrowed. Things are more complicated than I thought. The Chen family didn't just target the Yin family, but also bribed a Yin family shareholder. The money Li Jiangguo got from selling his shares was actually given by the Chen family. It was just to deceive everyone, putting on a show. And Li Xinyi, as Li Jiangguo's daughter, was very likely used by her father, becoming an accomplice in planting the curse. "Where is Li Xinyi now?" I asked. Yin Haodong took a deep breath. "Still in Tanjiang. They've already had someone tailing her. Don't alert the enemy." I stood up. "You'll go see her." West District of Tanjiang. Below a high-end apartment building, I stood in the shadows, looking at the lit window on the 12th floor. Yin Haodong's men had investigated thoroughly. Li Xinyi lives here. She lives like a recluse, rarely going out. Mr. Lin, do you want to go up and arrest her directly? Yin Haodong asked in a low voice. I shook my head. Not to arrest her. Question her. She might have been used as well. I went upstairs alone and rang the doorbell of apartment 1203. After a long moment, the door opened a crack, revealing a pale face. It was a young woman, very delicate looking, but her eyes were red and swollen, her face haggard. It seemed she hadn't slept well in a long time. Who are you looking for? Her voice was hoarse. Li Xinyi. I looked at her. You are a friend of Yin Hexue. The color drained from Li Xinyi's face. She instinctively tried to shut the door, but I stopped it with my hand. I'm not here to cause trouble. I said, I just want to ask you a few questions. Li Xinyi bit her lip, silent for a long time. She finally let go of the doorknob. I stepped into the room. The room was a mess. Takeout boxes and soda bottles were everywhere. It was clear this girl hadn't been living well lately. Have a seat. Li Xinyi pointed to the sofa, while she herself curled up in a corner, hugging her knees. I sat down on the sofa and got straight to the point. Hexue is in trouble again. Li Xinyi's body visibly trembled. The car accident. It's very serious. I stared into her eyes. The doctors say she might not make it. Tears immediately welled up in Li Xinyi's eyes. She covered her mouth, trying to stifle her sobs. Are you sad? My voice was very calm. If you're really sad, why did you help those people hurt her? I didn't. Li Xinyi suddenly looked up. I never meant to hurt her. I really didn't know. I didn't know that thing would. She couldn't finish her sentence, dissolving into tears. I waited for her to calm down and spoke slowly. Tell me everything. Li Xinyi wiped her tears and began to tell her story haltingly. 3 months ago, her father suddenly told her the company was in some trouble and needed a large sum of money to get by. An investment company was willing to pay $200 million for the shares they held, but the condition was that Li Xinyi had to help them with one thing. That thing was to get close to Yin Hexue and put a type of health supplement in her drink. My father said it was just a mild sedative, that it wouldn't harm her body. Li Xinyi said between sobs. He said the Yin family was under a lot of pressure lately, and Hexue wasn't sleeping well. A little sedative would be good for her. I actually believed him. I frowned. Who gave you that thing? Li Xinyi hesitated for a moment, then said a name. Chen Guofu. I nodded. How many times did you do it? I continued to ask. Just once, Li Xinyi said. 3 months ago, Hexue and I were having coffee. While she went to the restroom, I put that thing in her cup. Later I heard she got sick. I even went to the hospital to visit her. I thought she was just naturally unwell. She covered her face, sobbing until her whole body trembled. I was silent for a moment, then asked, What about this time? Before the car accident, did you meet with Hexue? Li Xinyi shook her head. No, really I didn't. After that one time, I didn't dare to see her again. My father told me to help again, but I refused no matter what. I was scared. I looked at her, confirming that she wasn't lying. Where is that Chen Guofu now? Li Xinyi hesitated for a bit. He seems to still be in Tanjiang. My father said he'd be in Tanjiang for a while to handle some things. I stood up. All right, write down everything you know, then go turn yourself in. Li Xinyi looked up, her face covered in tears. Will I go to jail? I don't know. I looked at her. But if you truly consider Hexue your friend, then you should take responsibility for what you've done. Li Xinyi was silent for a long time, then slowly nodded. After getting Li Xinyi's testimony, Yin Haodong immediately took action. The Chen family's stronghold in Tanjiang was a private club in the south of the city. On the surface, it was a legitimate business, but in reality, it was the Chen family's command center in Tanjiang. Yin Haodong led his men to surround the club overnight, but when they broke in, they found the place empty. Chen Guofu had already fled. I stood in the empty club, my brows furrowed tightly. This person escaped too quickly. It's like he got a tip-off. There's a mole, I said. Yin Haodong's face turned ashen. Impossible. I only brought my most trusted men. I shook my head. It's not necessarily someone by your side. The Chen family definitely still has someone inside the Yin Corporation. Just then, Yin Haodong's phone rang. He answered it. After listening for a few moments, his expression changed abruptly. Mr. Lin, there's trouble at the hospital. Someone tried to sneak into Hexue's hospital room. My eyes flashed. An hour later, they returned to the Yin family's private hospital. In front of the hospital room, several bodyguards were pinning down a man in a white coat. The man's mask was pulled off, revealing an unfamiliar face. What's going on? Yin Haodong asked in a low voice. The head bodyguard said, This man was impersonating a doctor. He wanted to enter the hospital room. We checked his credentials and found they were fake. I walked over and knelt down to look at the man. The man turned his head away, not looking at me. Who sent you? I asked, but the man said nothing. I wasn't in a hurry. I reached out and took his wrist, checking his pulse. A few seconds later, my brows furrowed. You have Ge poison in your body. I'd say the Chen family poisoned you. The man's expression changed. He suddenly turned his head to stare at me. I continued. You're working for them, and they promised you the antidote, right? But did you know the goo poison in your body basically has no cure? Even if you complete your mission and return, they'll kill you to silence you. The man's lips began to tremble. Tell me where Chen Guofu is. I looked at him. I can help you detoxify, and I can guarantee your safety. The man hesitated for a long time. Finally, he opened his mouth. He's still in Xinjiang. There's an underground warehouse in the south of the city. He's hiding there. I stood up. I said to Yin Haodong, let's go. An abandoned warehouse district in the south of the city. It was late at night. Only a few dim yellow streetlights were on. Yin Haodong and I led our men and silently surrounded one of the warehouses. Through a crack in the window, we could see lights inside and a few figures moving about. Yin Haodong gave a signal. The bodyguards crept in silently. But just then, the warehouse door suddenly opened. A middle-aged man walked out and stood at the door, smiling into the darkness. Young Master Lin, you've arrived. Why bother hiding? My gaze froze. This man was Chen Guofu. I stepped out from the shadows, standing opposite Chen Guofu. Chen Guofu sized me up. A hint of apprehension flashed in his eyes, but he quickly regained his composure. The Kailan son of the Lin family. I've heard of you for a long time. I didn't expect you to make a trip personally for the Yin family. I looked at him. Chen Guofu, what you've done is enough to warrant a death sentence. If you surrender now, you might suffer less. Chen Guofu laughed. Young Master Lin, you're too confident. Do you think you can catch me with just these few men? He snapped his fingers. More than 20 men in black suddenly appeared around the warehouse, holding weapons and surrounding me and his men. Yin Haodong's expression changed. They had only brought a dozen or so men. They were heavily outnumbered, but I remained very calm. I looked at Chen Guofu and suddenly smiled. Do you think these few people can stop me? Chen Guofu was stunned for a moment, and in the next second, I made my move. My speed was astonishingly fast. Like a black lightning bolt, I shot through the crowd in an instant. Wherever I passed, the men in black fell one by one, without even having time to react. In less than a minute, all 20-plus men were lying on the ground, moaning incessantly. The smile on Chen Guofu's face froze. I stood before him, looking down on him. Do you have anything else to say now? Chen Guofu's legs began to shake. He turned to run, but I grabbed him by the back of his collar, lifting him like a chick. Take him back, I said to Yin Haodong. The truth. In the interrogation room, Chen Guofu's face was ashen. His earlier arrogance was gone. I sat opposite him, holding a cup of tea in my hand, sipping it slowly. Speak. Who gave you the order? My voice was calm, as if I were asking about the weather. Chen Guofu gritted his teeth and said nothing. I wasn't in a hurry. I put down my teacup and took out a cloth pouch from my pocket. Opening it, a row of silver needles was revealed inside. You may not know, besides healing people, I also know a few other things. I pulled out a silver needle, twirling it under the light. For example, making people tell the truth. Chen Guofu's expression changed. What do you want to do? I said nothing, just walked over and knelt in front of him. Then I inserted the needle. Chen Guofu's body suddenly trembled. Then he started to laugh. Not a happy laugh, but a wild, uncontrollable laugh. He wanted to stop, but couldn't. He laughed until tears streamed down his face, laughed until his stomach cramped, laughed until he was almost out of breath. Stop! Stop! He managed to force out a few words. I inserted another needle. The laughter stopped. In its place was an uncontrollable sadness. Chen Guofu started to cry, crying like a child. Tears and snot covered his face. He kept mumbling, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Yin Haodong, standing nearby, watched with his mouth agape. I inserted another needle. Chen Guofu's body went limp. His eyes became vacant. Speak. I sat back down in my chair. Who gave you the order? Chen Guofu began to confess mechanically. The person who ordered him was the head of the Chen family, Chen Wannian. The target was the Yin family, specifically Yin Hexue. The reason was simple. The Yin family had been developing too quickly in recent years, threatening the Chen family's position. Chen Wannian wanted to use control over Yin Hexue to threaten the Yin family, forcing them to give up market share. As for why they chose Yin Hexue, it was because she was the only granddaughter of the Yin family, the apple of Yin Haodong's eye. Controlling her was like controlling the entire Yin family. Who administered those goo poisons? I asked. It was a sorcerer from Miaojiang, Chen Guofu said. Chen Wannian paid a lot of money to invite him over. He said using goo poison was the safest bet, as it would be untraceable. Where is that sorcerer now? Still at the Chen family's estate. Chen Wannian keeps him at his home, exclusively working for him. I nodded and asked again, is there anyone else from your side in the Yin Corporation? Chen Guofu said a name. Yin Haodong's face immediately turned pale. That was his trusted confidant of many years, the vice president of the Yin Corporation, the man who had worked alongside him for 20 years. How dare he? He gritted his teeth, speaking word by word. I stood up and said to Yin Haodong, the questioning is almost done. You can handle what comes next. Yin Haodong took a deep breath and nodded. Thank you, young Master Lin. I waved my hand and stepped out of the interrogation room. Outside, the sky was about to brighten. Time to go back. 3 days later, Yin Hexue woke up. When she opened her eyes, the first thing she saw were the haggard faces of her parents. Lin Yuelin was crying her eyes out. Yin Haodong's eyes were also red, but he held back his tears. "Mom, Dad," Yin Hexue called out weakly. Lin Yuelin took her hand, too choked up to speak. "It's good that you're awake. It's good that you're awake." Yin Hexue's gaze swept across the room, finally resting on the quiet figure in the corner. It was me. I was standing there, leaning against the wall, holding a book in my hand, looking down at it. Sensing her gaze, I looked up and walked over. I checked her pulse. "You're fine now," I said. "Just get some good rest. You'll recover in a month." Yin Hexu looked at me and suddenly asked, "Did you save me?" I didn't say anything, just nodded. Tears suddenly welled up in Yin Hexu's eyes. She remembered the last time. It was also this man who had pulled her back from the brink of death. Back then, she was skeptical. Only now did she realize this man had really saved her twice. "Thank you," she said, her voice choked. I smiled. "No need to thank me. Just rest well." I turned to leave, but Yin Hexue suddenly called out to me. "Young Master Lin." I turned my head. "Will you come visit me again?" Yin Hexue asked, her eyes filled with anticipation and a touch of indescribable shyness. I was stunned for a moment, then shook my head. "No, I'm going back to Jingcheng tomorrow." The light in Yin Hexu's eyes dimmed, but she quickly smiled again. Then I wish you a safe journey." I nodded and walked out of the room. In the hallway, Yin Haodong was waiting for me. "Young Master Lin, are you sure you won't stay a few more days?" Yin Haodong said sincerely. "I'd like to thank you properly." I shook my head. "Someone is waiting for me at home." Yin Haodong understood my meaning and sighed. "All right then, I'll take you to the airport." "No need," I said. "You still have many things to handle at the hospital. I can just get a taxi myself." Yin Haodong insisted on taking me, so in the end, I had to agree. On the way to the airport, neither of us said much. When we arrived at the airport, Yin Haodong took my hand and said solemnly, "Young master, if you ever need anything in the future, the Yin family will never refuse." I smiled. "Seo Yin, you're too kind. Hexue is a good kid. Take good care of her." Yin Haodong nodded, seeing me to the security gate. As the plane took off, I watched Xinjiang shrink outside the window. A strange feeling welled up inside me. This city. I've lived here for 5 years. I've been through so much. The good, the bad, the sweet, the bitter. Now, I was finally leaving for good. I remember when I first came to Xinjiang, I was still a passionate young man, thinking love could conquer all. Now I was leaving with a weary body, but I had unexpectedly found a new place to belong. Fate is truly unpredictable. When the plane landed at Jingcheng Airport, it was already evening. I walked out of the arrivals gate and saw Tang Yue at a glance. She stood in the middle of the crowd, wearing a simple white shirt and jeans, yet she still stood out so much. Seeing me, Tang Yue smiled and walked over. She naturally linked her arm with mine. "You're home? Are you tired? It's a good thing you're okay." "That's great. Let's go. Let's go home and eat. Mom made the braised pork you like." I looked at her. Suddenly I smiled. This is the life I've always wanted. No grand drama, no intense passion, no life or death vows, just simple warmth, and someone always waiting for me to come home. "Okay," I said, "let's go home." Half a year later, in Qinthen, my married life with Tang Yue was simple but warm. I took over the Lin family's pharmaceutical business. I gradually brought the formulas I had accumulated over the years to the market. Under my leadership, Lin Pharmaceuticals launched 7 new drugs in just half a year. Each one had remarkable effects. They received sky-high praise. Everyone in the industry said the Lin family's Keelan son truly lived up to his reputation. Tang Yue wasn't idle either. She continued her investment work. With a sharp eye and precise moves, she made another several hundred million in just half a year. Everyone in Qinthan's social circles said that I and Tang Yue were a match made in heaven. That evening, the two of us rarely had free time. We were curled up at home watching a movie. It was an old film, Roman Holiday. Tang Yue leaned on my shoulder, watching intently. "Lin Feng," she suddenly said, "tell me if one day we had to part ways like in the movie, what would you do?" I was stunned for a moment. Then I smiled. "That won't happen." "Why?" "Because I'm not a reporter, and you're not a princess." I gently wrapped my arm around her shoulder. "We're ordinary people, living an ordinary life. We don't need to be apart." Tang Yue thought for a moment. She saw that I was right, so she nodded, and continued watching the movie. When the movie ended, my phone rang. It was Yin Haodong. "Mr. Lin, sorry to bother you." Yin Haodong's voice sounded very relaxed. "It's nothing major. Just wanted to give you an update. The Chen family matter has been settled." I nodded. "How did it go?" "Chen Wanian was sentenced to 15 years. Chen Guofu, 10 years. That Miao Jiang sorcerer has also been arrested," Yin Haodong said. "It's all thanks to you. Otherwise, our Yin family would have had a hard time escaping this disaster." "Seo Yin, you're too kind," I said. "How is Hexue?" "Much better. She has fully recovered." Yin Haodong paused for a moment. Suddenly he chuckled. "Ah, Mr. Lin. There's something I wanted to tell you." "What is it?" "It seems little Hexue has taken a liking to you." Yin Haodong's voice carried a hint of helplessness. "She mentions you every day. She says she wants to visit you in Kintan. I was stunned for a moment. Then I laughed. It's just childishness. She'll be fine after a while. I hope so. Yin Haodong sighed. All right then, I won't bother you anymore. Come visit Tanjiang when you have the chance. I hung up the phone. Tang Yue looked at me. She raised an eyebrow. Who is that? Yin Haodong said Miss Yin likes you. I answered honestly. Tang Yue shot me a glare. Another one. Your luck with women is really too strong. I laughed. Are you jealous? Jealous? Tang Yue scoffed. Me, Tang Yue, jealous? I just find it annoying. One after another, they don't know their own limits. I looked at her and suddenly leaned in close. I kissed her lightly on the cheek. Tang Yue was stunned for a moment. Her cheeks flushed slightly. What are you doing? Nothing, I said with a smile. Just wanted to kiss you. Tang Yue gave me a look, but she didn't pull away. The moonlight streamed in through the window, illuminating our two intertwined shadows. This is life. Simple, warm, with you by my side. 5 years later, at the Lin family's old residence in Kintan, in the courtyard, a 3 or 4-year-old girl was chasing a butterfly. Her laughter was crisp and clear. The little girl had 2 small pigtails. She wore a small floral dress. As she ran, her skirt fluttered. Like a little angel. Run slowly, don't fall, dear. Tang Yue sat under the eaves, holding a book in her hand, but her eyes followed her daughter. Mommy, butterfly. The little girl pointed at the butterfly flying away, stomping her foot anxiously. The butterfly has to go home, dear. Tang Yue smiled and waved. You should come home too. Wash your hands and eat. The little girl pouted and reluctantly walked over. She climbed onto the steps and threw herself into her mother's arms. Where's Daddy? The little girl asked. Daddy's in the study. He'll be out in a moment. Just as she finished speaking, I walked out of the study. Holding a small box, Daddy. The little girl immediately rushed over. I picked her up and kissed her on the cheek. Good girl. Daddy brought a present for you. The little girl's eyes lit up. What is it, Daddy? I opened the box. Inside was a delicate little jade pendant, carved in the shape of a butterfly. It was incredibly lifelike. Wow, the little girl exclaimed in amazement. Her tiny hand carefully touched the jade. It's so pretty. Do you like it? I love it. The little girl nodded vigorously. Thank you, Daddy. Tang Yue walked over. She looked at the jade pendant and smiled. Buying things for her again? The house is almost full of her things. It's a rare occasion, I said, as long as she likes it. The family went inside and sat around the dining table. The nanny served the meal. It was all the little girl's favorite dishes. During the meal, the little girl suddenly asked her father, Grandma said you were married before. Is that true? The atmosphere at the table suddenly froze. Tang Yue glanced at me but said nothing. I put down my chopsticks and looked at my daughter. It's true, I said seriously. But that was a very long time ago. So where is that auntie now? She's in a very faraway place, I said, speaking of my life. The little girl nodded, only half understanding. She asked again, so did you like her? I was silent for a few seconds, then said, I used to, but that's all in the past. Now Daddy only likes you and Mommy. The little girl was satisfied and continued to eat with her head down. Tang Yue glanced at me, a smile in her eyes. She didn't say anything, just quietly took my hand under the table. I squeezed her hand back. The two of us looked at each other and smiled. After dinner, the little girl clung to me, demanding a story. I sat her on my lap and told her a story about a brave little butterfly. While I was telling it, the little girl fell asleep, leaning against my chest. Her breathing was even. Tang Yue came over and gently lifted our daughter, placing her in the small bed in the bedroom. The two of us returned to the living room and sat on the sofa, looking at the moon outside the window. Her kindergarten teacher called today. Tang Yue said, she said our daughter is very popular in class. A lot of the little boys like her. I smiled, just like her mother. Tang Yue gave me a look. Like you mean? She's clearly like you, a heartbreaker from a young age. I laughed. So who is she like then? She's like both of us. Tang Yue leaned on my shoulder. She's definitely going to be a little heartbreaker in the future. It's okay. I held her. I'm here. No one can bully her. Tang Yue nodded. After a moment of silence, she suddenly said, Lin Feng, do you ever have any regrets? I was stunned for a moment. Regret what? Regret the choice you made back then, Tang Yue said. If you hadn't returned to Kintan back then, if you hadn't married me, what would things be like now? I thought for a moment, then I shook my head. No regrets. Why? Because the life I have now is exactly what I want. I looked at the moon outside the window. Having you, having our daughter, having a family, that's more than enough. Tang Yue smiled and leaned in closer to me. Outside the window, the moonlight was like water. Inside, our two shadows merged into one. From afar came the little girl's sleepy mumble, Daddy, butterfly, Tang Yue, and I looked at each other and smiled. This was their life, simple, warm, and everlasting.